Josh Allen turns into Superman. Jamar Chase, is he the second spitter? Or the first? Bryce Young goes crazy. The Manchild Show with Boy Green starts now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when it comes to sport, it's always coming to. If Boy Green is always on the scene, it was gonna always bring to life again. So get ready, get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, baby, a Monday. Time for the Monday morning quarterback live show. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital, our YouTube handle. Go check us out. Hit the subscribe button. Be a friend. Be a pal. Be a buddy. Become one of the community, my friends. Right there. YouTube.com/MC Show Digital. We need you to create a greater community so that we can get this product out to more and more people each and every week. All right. Welcome aboard, Boy Green. Good morning. Happy Monday to you.
Okay, NFL Overreaction Monday, week 11. I can't, when I see like week 11, we got one more game left in week 11. Week 12 officially starts on Tuesday. I'm like, man, oh my goodness, we're getting to the thick of things, you know?
Flying by, man. It's flying by.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's start with the breaking news, and then we'll work our way backwards to all the stuff that happened yesterday, and then eventually get to tonight's Monday Night Football game. Not exactly a sassy one, but we'll still talk about it a little bit. But let's talk about the breaking news. Some news in on Michael Penix. Go ahead.
Yes, this just coming in seconds ago. This is the cool thing about the show. We can immediately react to the breaking news despite whatever we may have had prepared. This just in from ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. Quarterback Michael Penix suffered a potentially season-ending knee injury during Sunday's loss to the Carolina Panthers. Penix is seeking second opinions, but it doesn't look encouraging. And of course, with Penix sidelined, superhero Kirk Cousins emerges as he did at the end of that game to give the Falcons a chance. And then in overtime, they ended up losing it there. But now Kirk Cousins takes over, which I guess shows why the Falcons held on to Kirk Cousins this entire time. We'll see if he can play any better than he did. But Kirk Cousins, man, that's I love Michael Penix. Loved him coming out of the draft. Was one of the best, spirals in football. And obviously this year was not going according to plan. They're 3-7, but you can look at that schedule and look at all these games that went this way or that way. And the Falcons could totally be, 6-4. They could have been something totally different.
They should be better.
Which
they
stinks.
should be better.
So I feel terrible for Michael Penix. But breaking news just coming in.
And that was a disappointing loss for them. And Cousins was okay, but I mean, he's just, I don't know. It seems like he's lost a little of his moxie. That's, benching can do that to a guy sometimes. Sometimes it can motivate a guy, and then they come back and they just look like gangbusters. And sometimes it's just like it beats a guy down. And I don't know. Maybe his skills are just eroding. I mean, let's face it. He's not a young guy anymore. And maybe, the foot speed isn't quite the. I've heard a lot of talk out of Atlanta about his arm strength or lack thereof, and that he's just not getting the ball to the receivers quick enough.
37 now.
37. I mean, not all of the NFL quarterbacks are Tom Brady. That's true. That can do it, that kind of longevity. We've seen, come on. I mean, we can all admit it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still out there playing, but he's just not the same guy the last couple of years that he was, when he was competing for MVP trophies. I mean, he's lost speed, the arm, he still has kind of arm talent, but the total zip isn't there anymore, and the really pinpoint accuracy isn't quite there. Skills do erode. Age, father time, doesn't spare anyone. It doesn't spare anyone. We are all going, hopefully, to get old. And when you get older, you will find you can't do the things that you could do before. Like I used to be a really good baseball player and then became a really good softball player. And now I am not good, okay? Because I simply lost some of the key skills. Like
you lost your fastball?
What's that?
I said, did you lose your fastball?
Yeah. Well, I lost my fastball. I lost, I can still throw a baseball, but I don't have the arm I once had or the zip that I once had on it. And after I throw it about 10 times, my shoulder starts to hurt. And the elbow starts creaking a little. You're like, ooh. And I need to warm up for about 10 minutes before I can even throw it, anywhere near the distance that I could normally throw it. And the running, that's just something. I mean, I know there are people that run marathons in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And good for them. But I just, Yeah. God said to me, the hamstrings are going to tighten up right around 50, and that's going to be the end of it, pal.
Okay.
You better take up golf. And that's exactly what I've done. I've taken up golf and
nice.
other sports that don't demand my body to run quickly or run for particularly long distances. Okay. So, I'm not an unfit guy, but I would say that God has taken some of those skills away. And in the football world, especially the compilation of hits that guys take, the beating.
So you think that's happening to Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. Okay. I do. I see it eroding a bit from Cousins. He might have a little gas left in the tank. We'll see. He's got the rest of this season now to show it.
Especially in a real start, because in some of these Kirk Cousins appearances so far this season, he's been pushed out in a late situation. Hey, save us, pal. And he's like, what the? So I don't know how much I throw on him yet, but again, still eroding skills are eroding skills, whether you're a partial player or full-time player, but it looks like he's going to get some opportunities where he's getting all the first team reps throughout a week and get ready for the game. So I'll be curious to see what he provides.
Right. Because I was going to say that. I mean, in all fairness, unless you're the whole week getting the first team reps, you're intricately involved in the game plan, as often the starting quarterbacks are. Even a guy that's a pro like Cousins is likely to slack a little bit, to not, be quite as invested mentally, quite as invested, obviously, physically during the week. And then you just ask to go out there and perform. And it just doesn't always just, snap a finger and it happens kind of thing. So we'll see. I mean, maybe there's still, I'm not saying he's done, but I'm saying it's getting there. It's just starting to look that way.
Well, I would say this is a, what's the right word? An audition for the rest of the season if he ends up being the starter full time. In case you're just joining us, ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter, the breaking news. It looks like Penix is going to be done for the year, which means, of course, the keys would be turned over to Kirk Cousins. Well, Penix is the guy that you took with a top 10 pick, so he's not going anywhere. Kirk Cousins could. Now, he's still going to be under contract, but they could trade him. There's a lot of needy teams. I'm not sure if I want my Jets in it, but they at least have to explore it, and so do a lot of other teams with the potential for a veteran trade. So if Kirk Cousins shows anything through the rest of this season, he could be a hot trade piece coming up in the offseason. So he's got a full audition for the rest of the season to figure that out.
What he could be, in my opinion, anyway. I know he wants to be a big-time starter again, and he wants to, to end it the right way. What he could be next year, if he shows something the rest of this year, and I think that's an if right there, is he could be that bridge guy, for a team like the Jets, even if you don't want him on the Jets, and I understand if you don't Boy Green, or what the Giants, walk into this year, bringing both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston into the fold, knowing they wanted to bridge their way to their rookie quarterback at some point. And if the other, if the vet played well, you could let that bridge be a little bit longer. If the vet didn't play well, all right, might have to shorten things up and get the rookie ready a little earlier. So there likely are going to be a couple of teams out there in the NFL. The Jets will definitely be one of them that will be looking for that bridge. So I think that's probably, to me, what Kirk Cousins could potentially be next year. And that all is predicated on how he plays the rest of this year. Because now he'll have the chance to do that with Michael Penix, in case you missed it, out now for the rest of the season. What was the injury, by the way, Boy?
Knee. It was a knee. It was a knee for him. And again, he's trying to seek second opinion. So he's trying to find out if there's another doctor that doesn't feel the same way. But it definitely looks season ending at this point.
Okay, so I mean, man, we've got a lot to break down from over the weekend, so we'll just pick them one game at a time here. Let's start locally with the Buffalo Bills. That was a Superman-like performance, no question about it, from Josh Allen. I mean, gosh, even if you look statistically, anybody that had Khalil Shakir on their fantasy team, I think it was one catch for -2 yards or -7 yards. I don't know. It was negative yards.
Yeah, I have the stats in front of me. 1 second.
Holy crow. He got less than a point. Because it's,
one catch for -3 yards.
You're -3, right? So that's 0.7, right? Because you lose the 3 and then you get the 1 for the reception in a PPR league like we have, right?
Yes.
So the full point PPR, we're talking about 0.7 points. Way to go, Khalil. In a game that your team goes bananas and scores 44 points, where your quarterback has 6 total touchdowns. And I know 3 of them were rushing. We can get into that.
Right.
But this was Josh Allen spreading the ball around to all these unlikely people. Mm-hmm. And then just finding a way to run when he needed to and just bully people. And that's what that guy's capable of. That's why he's an MVP candidate every year, is going to continue to be an MVP candidate every year, because he is a true dual threat quarterback. He was doing it in a howling wind. which makes it very difficult to throw the ball. In case you've never thrown the ball in the wind, well, go out and try it. Okay, it's very windy in central New York today. Go take a football out there and chuck it around with your buddy for a while, and make sure you're throwing it against the wind. Okay, or when the wind's coming in sideways to your ball, and watch the ball just move on its own. And these guys are throwing the ball 40, 50 yards, sometimes at a clip in the air. I mean, that ball's going to move, and it might move several feet, okay, along the path. And then you have to calculate that in. And it's a remarkable skill. And he has a cannon. We have seen him in person. We saw him at training camp in his rookie year, and we were like, whoa,
we did.
That ball shoots out of that guy's hand. Unlike, the guys that he's warming up right next to. You're like, ooh,
right. AJ McCarron and Nathan Peterman. Didn't have the same whistle on the ball. It was a
very, very stark difference between those three quarterbacks as we watched them all just basically run the same drill, throw the same ball. Even if it was a 10-yard pass, you're like, whoa, that one got there about half the time. It was crazy. So he is a cannon, and there are some quarterbacks in the league that do have a cannon like Josh Allen, but he's right near the top of that list. And look, the Bills found a way to get it done. I mean, they needed this win against Tampa desperately, especially with New England's continued winning, the ease of their schedule. There was just no way the Bills were going to have any hope of winning this division if they went down in this game against Tampa, and Josh Allen just willed them to victory. So kudos to the Bills. Any other thoughts on that game, Boy Green?
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse legend Sean Tucker, baby. Oh, good Lord have mercy on the other side. I know for a lot of you out there in the universe, you're like, who the hell is Sean Tucker? Well, us here in Syracuse, he was a terrific running back here. It's funny that he only got his shot, which is a crazy story. He only gets his shot because a few of the guys higher than him on the roster had like COVID and all kinds of random circumstance to get Sean Tucker his opportunity of getting in there. And he had a wonderful college career. And in this game, he has over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Through the air, he adds another 2 catches for 30 yards. So he had over 180 total yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, what a coming out party for Sean Tucker. So I was so happy for him. I'm sure the Buccaneers would have loved that win. What a fun game. If you're just a casual fan, it was back and forth and exciting and a lot of points, and it was terrific. So, hey, I think the key for the Bills is they let Josh Allen loose. That's the reigning MVP, and they've been playing so tepid throughout the season with Josh Allen. They haven't let him go, and I think that's just in the simplest form or fashion. He's the MVP for a reason. Let him be the MVP. Sometimes it's going to be mistakes. Josh Allen had a pick earlier in this game that caused him, 2 picks rather. He had 2 picks in this game. So he had some of those things, but when he scores 6 touchdowns, it's a little easier to look at the 2 picks when you're putting points all over the board. So that's it. I still think the Bills have a lot of issues. Obviously, for Sean Tucker to have that game means that the Bills' run defense was super questionable in this contest, and they certainly had issues in that department. But hey, man, if you're Buffalo, you're 7-3. It still is unlikely you're going to win the division. The Patriots have a 2.5 game lead. They're 9-2, and their schedule's super easy. But at least you get one more chance. If you're the Bills, you don't control your own destiny from that perspective because you only play the Patriots one more time. So there's still a lot up in the air, but it's still, for the Bills, you just want a ticket to the dance. I heard Patrick Mahomes, who we'll talk about later, he was talking about it in his presser that it looks difficult that we're going to get back into the divisional race, but hey, we just want to get into the playoffs, which also may be difficult for the Chiefs. But you get a ticket to the dance, and wild card teams win the Super Bowl. That it's not like that hasn't ever happened before.
Right. It can happen. By the way, for any of us here in central New York who know Sean Tucker, this guy has shown at the college level, he's more than capable of stuff like this. We have been hearing unbelievable stuff this year from the Tampa coaching staff and people behind the scenes in Tampa about his vast array of talents. Just to put it in perspective, here's a couple of his career highlights from Syracuse. Okay. So in September of 2022 against Virginia, he rushed for 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a couple of catches for 15 yards. Okay. Nice. That's a 250-yard day, essentially. Okay. Right. That's not bad. A single guy with 3 scores. Okay. 3 touchdowns. Against Boston College in 2021, about a year before that, he had a 207-yard rushing day. Okay. And his 2021 season, which was his big season, I think he got nicked up in the 2022 season and missed some games. But in 2021, he rushed for a school record 1,496 yards. Okay. Almost 1,500 yards, which is and was a first team All ACC player. So that's just a dip in the toe, of what this guy is capable of. He was a more than capable college player.
Well, let's even say this again for people that, again, the Sean Tucker name I know may not ring for some people. Here's this. In Syracuse's history, here's some of the names, right? Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Larry Zonka. You look at the all-time leading rushers in Syracuse football history. You, of course, have Joe Morris, who remains on top of that pile. Walter Reyes is in that group. Sean Tucker is third all-time in Syracuse football history in career rushing yards. Third. Sean Tucker we're talking about here, and he's above Hall of Famers, both in the college ranks and the Pro Football Hall of Fame ranks. So this is a guy and a very weird pre-draft process where something happened medically, but no one ever revealed what it was. He was supposed to be maybe a second or third round pick, but falls all the way to the end of the draft, and the Buccaneers pick him up, I believe, as an undrafted free agent. So, I mean, he had a very weird something happen that none of us ever knew in the pre-draft process, and now he gets this chance with Bucky Irving down, next man up, do the right things. He's a good pass blocker, too, and when his number gets called, now Sean Tucker, when you have a performance like this at the NFL level, you can have a job forever. Everyone's going to keep pointing back to that moment and say, "Ooh, we could get that out of him," and we'll see. So I'm super happy for Sean.
All right, let's jump to this next, Boy Green, since up here in the comments, and thank you, Tatsuyama, for this.
Yes.
And that is the Jets cornerback, Chris Boyd. We heard about this going into the weekend in Manhattan late at night. Nothing happens good after midnight, old Bud Poliquin would say. Obviously he was shot, right? He was shot.
Yes, he was.
So tell us about Boyd. I mean, give us some Jets insider on this, if there's any to be had in terms of, of this incident. I know the Jets have been very, very cagey about not wanting to say anything at this point. I think they're just, trying to gather all the circumstances here and find out exactly what's going on. Was Boyd getting himself into trouble? Was it someone else that came upon him? Go ahead, talk about it.
Yeah, so here are the latest details that we know. When this was reported, and this was yesterday morning, this happened at 2 a.m. yesterday morning. And then when it started to get reported later in the morning, Chris Boyd it was reported that he was fighting for his life after getting shot in the abdomen and then getting transported to a local hospital. They weren't sure if he was even going to make it, which was obviously incredibly scary. He signed a 1-year deal for the Jets this offseason. He had shoulder surgery during training camp, so unfortunately he was set to miss the entire year. He had just bounced around the league. He's played for the Vikings and the Texans, and he was supposed to be a core special teamer for the Jets, and he was out for the season. But yes, last night, to your point, in the Manhattan area, he gets shot at 2 a.m. They're still trying to look for the shooter at this point. And thankfully, the positive update we just got this morning is he went from, critical condition, fighting for his life. And there is still a critical condition element here, but now in stable condition. So at least, who knows? It's all kinds of things can change with medical stuff going on. But I was just very happy. It just happened maybe an hour or so before the show. I was able to see that update, which feels so critical. So stable condition and hopefully continued prayers and healing for Chris Boyd during this situation. So, very scary situation, Lurch. And hopefully he ends up being okay. We're still waiting on more details on what happened and why it is. And you mentioned that Bud Poliquin thing. My father used to share a similar message with me about hey, man, nothing good happens after this time. You're eventually going to be out on your own, which I am now, obviously, as an adult. Hey, just think about that. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. Just have a curfew for yourself, leave during certain times and things, and don't just be out patrolling the streets. You never know what craziness can happen out there in the universe. So again, just hopefully for Chris Boyd and his family ends up being okay. So again, waiting for more details. They're seeking a shooter. They don't know the motive. Was Chris Boyd targeted? Was he just the wrong place, wrong time? The police are still trying to gather a lot of that intel.
Is he a player, Paul? I the name, when I heard it, I was like, who? Kind of thing. I know with Sauce being traded, that secondary is changing rapidly. So is he a player that is getting some run? Is he a guy that, what can you tell us about him as a player?
Yeah. So as a player, again, he's listed as a cornerback or a defensive back, but again, he's a special teamer. A few years ago, Jet
Okay.
fans will recognize his name. I'm going to say is Justin Hardy. Again, that's another name that's not going to ring through for regular NFL fans, but he was listed as a defensive back for the Jets, but always a special teams player. So no, with Sauce Gardner being traded, he would have never been involved. And like I said, in August, he had shoulder surgery. He was set to miss the year anyway. So he was ruled out for the year. He hurt himself during camp.
Okay.
And so he wasn't going to play this year. So he's set to be a free agent. The Jets still held his rights with his injury, and he was set to be a free agent in March. But yeah, key special teamer. Here's and again, this is just how some people would have known him if you did, and it was for a not good reason, is in the Texans playoff game. There was this viral moment before a TV timeout where Chris Boyd went to the sideline and shoved his special teams coordinator, and it went viral on social media. He is the Texans player that shoved his coach, which caused a lot of people to say, what's going on with this guy? So when the Jets signed him, there was some hesitation because of some of those
character issues.
Yeah, 100%. And the Jets said they did their homework and researched the situation, and they were comfortable with it. So yeah, that's how some people may have known his name. But to your point, not a lot of people, I imagine, would have in the regular NFL world from that perspective. So no, purely a special teams player.
All right. Well, the Jets were off this weekend. We'll jump over to the Giants real quick. Always start with the locals. So, look, here's what I saw in the Giants game.
Okay.
Number one, I think that Jameis Winston definitely provided some energy to this team. You know,
Yeah.
I think if Russell Wilson had run it out there again, I think this thing could have been an ugly blowout. Instead, the Giants more than held their own against Green Bay, had chances, frankly, to win this game. Jameis is Jameis. You know, he's just going to give you anything and everything. But in his defense, I mean, they showed this one play. It was later in the game where, and this is what I don't get. So Jalen Hyatt was a guy that the Giants were looking at the trade deadline to just like unload for a 7th rounder, a 6th rounder, give us some scrap. We'll give you a trade. We'll give you a 7th. You give us a 6th. You know, like
Sure.
It's just this little tiny speck of some. And this guy, I think, was a 3rd round pick.
I believe.
Okay.
Well, let me double check before I speak at it.
I mean, so, you know, middle round guy. You know, I think he was the 3rd rounder. You know, and
he was 73rd overall.
Yeah. Yep. So this guy's a top 100 player in the draft just a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And he's been a disaster. I mean, he's just, you know, he's a speed guy. The Giants were hoping he could extend the field, be the guy that could, you know, run the long, go get the long passes. And he hasn't. He's been terrible. And he's got cement hands. And he doesn't run the routes. He doesn't run routes the right way. He's supposed to do an out. He does an in. He's supposed to, you know, do a stop and go. He just stops and then doesn't go. I mean, the guy is just, he's just been a calamity of problems, you know, pretty much from the gate. And he's had a bunch of injuries on top of it all as well. All right. So he's been injured. And then when he's in there, he's a mess. And he's obviously not learning all that much in practice because he's doing the wrong things in games. Mm-hmm. So he's been a disaster. And yet, and the Giants were in dire straits. We found out a little before the game that Slayton wasn't going to play. So it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, he's the only, like, veteran, decent guy we've got. And now he's out, too. Obviously, we don't have Malik Neighbors. You know, I mean, the Giants receiving corps is just back to being this cavalcade of no-name guys. Remember that year, Boy Green? I remember a couple of years ago, and the Giants like had Hodgins and all these.
Isaiah Hodgins. Yeah, that's right.
They just had all no-name guys. They're like, who are these guys? You know?
But he came back.
He had some good games. You know.
Speaking of Isaiah Hodgins, he came back.
Yeah, I know he did. Yeah. And I think he's, and then we had, and even this year we had who's the guy, little Jordan Humphrey, who, by the way, got picked back up by his old squad. He was on the Broncos. I was like, what happened to little Jordan? We can use that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess the Giants have already cut him. So I don't. But how has Jalen Hyatt stayed on this roster? And then there's this seminal moment in the game where the Giants are trying to chase down the Packers here.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to run a corner route. And he goes out and he has position on the DB where he just cuts in front of him. He's in the end zone and he's got position. And now the DB's got to come over the top of him. Instead, he just oddly runs it straight into the end zone and never breaks out. And the quarterback gets rid of that ball. That's like a 30-yard pass. The quarterback gets rid of that ball way before he makes the cut to the outside. So you're anticipating.
You're trusting.
You're trusting.
Yeah.
And then, Jameis looks like a fool. It nearly gets intercepted. It didn't get picked. Almost probably should have. All right. But it ends up being dropped by the DB, but it was it might have been a 4th down play or 3rd down play. It was a seminal play in the game. And then good job by the crew that was doing the game, the TV crew, because they pointed out, I don't know if it's Drew Brees or somebody as a quarterback who was the color guy, and he's like, that should have been an out. It was what the heck was he done? And then they showed the route a couple times. Like, what is he doing? My God, it just looked like an awful pass from Jameis.
Well, if that's Drew
an awful
Brees,
pass. It was actually exactly where it was supposed to be, and it was an awful route by Hyatt. And my question is, what are you doing if you are? I don't care if the head coach. You know, we could talk about his first performance here in the interim role. But what are you doing throwing the ball to Jalen Hyatt in a moment like that? To me, just find another guy to throw it to. He's been a disaster. You know it's going to be a disaster again. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I would just say I knew Drew Brees was making his call. I was watching other games, so I only got specs of the Giants game. So, if it was great, that was his first game doing it. And I think that's the cool part because us normalize. We're not sure. Everyone wants to default blame the quarterback anytime an interception is thrown. We don't want to say that the receiver ran the wrong route or did this or did this. The easiest thing is, geez, Jameis, what were you seeing there? So it's cool that to have a quarterback like Drew Brees saying, no, this should have been this instead of that. So I like that.
It showed him when he let go of the ball where high it was. And you're like, oh, yeah, he's anticipating the guys going there. I mean, this is the route. He's on the right route.
So poor went out for Isaiah Hodgins, who ended up having 5 catches for 57 yards. But you look at this box score in receivers, the leading receivers were Hodgins, Tyrone Tracy, your running back, Theo Johnson, your tight end, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Devin Singletary, and Daniel Bellinger had 1 target. Like, what
anybody and everybody. But that's just not a good receiving core, top to bottom. It's just too many guys that are just mediocre in that pile of guys. So. Yeah, it was hard to figure, but I mean, the fact that they played to the end of that game, have a chance to win that game, albeit a pick at the end, they could have got it and maybe sent it to overtime or something, and they win by 7 to what's supposed to be this good Green Bay team that we're slowly but surely finding out isn't all that good. To me, that's a positive first step for Mike Kafka. It was, I think, a decent outing by Jameis. Could have been better, but it was a decent outing considering what he was throwing to. So I don't know. I mean, it's a speck of optimism, I guess. I mean, we're going to be picking at the top of the draft, but
let's
at least my team go out. Yeah, go ahead. Pull up the current.
Here you go. Here we go.
Tennessee nearly won.
Should have won, quite frankly.
Could have won, was right in this thing. Oh, look, we're up there with a losing streak now. Washington apparently has lost more in a row than us. I see them there at lost 6 in a row. Ooh.
And here's this, folks. So we have the screenshot of this is tankathon.com that tracks all this. Now, the number 1 tiebreaker in the draft is strength of schedule. You'll see that over there, SOS, on that second from the right there. Now, you see that Tennessee has a 572 strength of schedule. That 572 is the most difficult of any of the teams in the top 10. What does that mean? If Tennessee would have the same record as all these teams in the top 10, they'd be picking 10th.
Yep.
Okay. So that's how big of a swing this was about to be. Because if the Titans ended up beating the Houston Texans, they would have stumbled all the way down to 5th. And then because like the Raiders, some of these teams haven't played their games yet. So Raiders have a bye, or Raiders play tonight, and other teams have byes. So there's some catching up that has to be done record wise. But Tennessee, all they have to do is win 1 more game. And you look at their schedule, and there's some wins to potentially be had there later for the Tennessee Titans. And that entire draft order flips, and your Giants could be in the commander's seat potentially for the number 1 pick. Jets are picking 5th at this current moment in time, and Giants at 2. So, and the other one to keep in mind on is Atlanta's imploding. They traded their first round pick to the Rams. So the Rams, who are doing
moving up,
they're going to get a top 10 pick to add to that pile of stuff they already have, which is spectacular.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So I was rooting for Tennessee yesterday, but there's still 7 more games to go, 6 for some teams.
Let me see. Let me pull it up for Tennessee.
Had you buy or not? Yeah. So the Giants have played 11 to 17 games, so they've got 6 more to go. And the Titans have 7 more to go. So yeah, I mean, you can see that's still a lot of games. I don't know if any team is going to end up with a singular win, although Tennessee could. They could. They had a really good chance to win yesterday. Really good chance.
Yeah, let me pull this up. So this is the Titans' remaining schedule. And, hey, they covered the spread for me, so I appreciate it. Thanks, Tennessee. You're the best. I would have preferred you just win the game outright, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
But let's see what Tennessee has left. Okay.
This is the Titans' remaining schedule from weeks 12 through week 18. And you think about potential wins here. Cleveland in week 14, that's totally on the table. New Orleans in week 17, that could totally be it.
That's a home game for them.
Yeah, and that's probably it. Seattle is
likely
good.
Right. Unless somebody has a
clunker. Maybe right. Jacksonville, it's a divisional game.
Jacksonville has a crazy turnover game,
Yeah.
Trevor gets loose in a game,
but besides that, it's looking tough.
Yeah. So, yeah, they might get another win, maybe.
Well,
the Giants would have to lose out. Can you do the same thing? Can you just
Giants schedule?
You can just quickly find the Giants remaining schedule, just so we can compare and contrast. At least at this point, they're sitting in the number 2 spot. Although you saw all those teams with only 2 wins, so certainly all of them are possibilities to jump over this team, especially as Boy Green said, because of strength of schedule. Anybody's tied with Tennessee will move below them in terms of win-loss record. So all you need is for someone else to stay 2 wins, Tennessee to get to 2 wins, and all of a sudden whoever is alongside them is going to move in front of them.
Here's the Giants schedule remaining. Oof.
So
at brutal. Detroit, at New England. So they could beat
Washington's kind of a disaster right now.
They're a disaster. They don't have Jade Daniels. Vikings are a disaster. JJ McCarthy's look terrible, and the Raiders are there. So I think those are the eminently winnable games. Is that 3-game stretch between week 15 and 17. I think if the Giants could win any of they could lose any of those games, but they could win any of those games for sure.
Okay. So, again, Tennessee, they're looking good for the number 1 pick, but we'll see. I mean, it's a lot of games, 7 or 8 games, 6 or 7 games, 6 or 7 games for these teams. So that's a lot of games. But anyway, hey, it's nice to be number 2. The Giants aren't going to be picking a quarterback, so I don't think they have to have the number 1. And in all honesty, Tennessee, I would think they're not going quarterback. I mean,
but wouldn't they want to trade it if they got?
I mean, I would hope they haven't given up on Cam
some other quarterback needy team.
Yeah. So
you never know. Hey, Kyler Murray, Josh Rosen, that happened. Let me throw one more up here, and then we could get to whatever other topics you have, Lurch. My Jets, this is their remaining schedule with a lot of road games sprinkled in. At Baltimore, home for Atlanta, home for Miami, at Jacksonville, at New Orleans, home for New England, at Buffalo. How many wins do you be honest with me? Friends got to be honest with each other. How many more wins are on the schedule for the Jets at 2-8?
Baltimore is they just have to keep winning games, so I don't like their chances there. Okay. Atlanta's I just don't know what Atlanta is week to week. So that's possible.
Okay.
Boy, Miami seems to be playing a little bit inspired from Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, 1, 4, or 5. Yeah, very nice.
I like to think the Jets could still win that game. Though that game is at MetLife.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. That's 2 possible. Okay.
Jacksonville should be fine.
Yeah, they just blew out the Chargers. Terrific game.
New Orleans week to week is always a possibility.
So 3, okay. 3 potential. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. So 3 potential.
Okay.
3 potential.
Right. That's the same thing we said with your Giants. So 3 potential.
Same thing. Yeah. Not that they'll get any of them. They might get none of them.
Sure. Right.
But 3 potential out there that they could go grab. Especially again the Jets situation, the quarterback thing. I mean, don't you have to go to Tyrod this coming game? I mean, at least you have to start him. You have Fields ready, but you have to start him, right?
Yeah, I think so. We'll see. AG was supposed to speak today. I have not seen whatever the updated time is that
he's not going to say anyway.
No,
I don't want to give him a competitive advantage guy now.
Probably, but on Friday he left the door open for a quarterback change, so that was unique. We have not seen that from AG so far. So maybe to your point, even if he was going to make a change, he's not going to say anything. But the fact that he opened the door on Friday just piqued a lot of our curiosity. Like, oh, what happens next? But and William, I appreciate him chiming in here. I can't root for the Jets to lose out. Love my team that much. Hey, I'm not rooting for the Jets to lose out either. How I operate as a fan, everyone can operate differently. I'm going to be rooting for wins against Baltimore, also because I have a beard bet going on, Lurch, with your buddy Alon.
Yes, I know.
So if the Jets lose to the Ravens, I'm going to have to shave off most of my beard.
Oh yeah, you had the 2, right? You had the 2 games.
Yeah, and they already lost to New England once that one's over. So now it's just Baltimore. If I win, I win nothing outside of keeping my beard. But if they lose, I have to shave most of it off. And I thought that was bad enough. Like that. Oh, that sucks because I love my beard. Mm-hmm. But my dad called into my show on Saturday and said, "Alon, I've got a better idea." So, okay, your guys' bet is your guys' bet.
I don't like a dad jumping in on something like that.
I don't either. Good. He called me a moron for even doing the bet in general, and it was sort of stupid. But he said, if the Jets lose to the Ravens, which means I would have to shave my beard, if I receive 100 memberships on my channel between when they lose on Sunday and the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so that's like 3 days, we will live stream me getting my beard shaved. And I said, what a horrible idea. I don't want to embarrass myself anymore, but all the fans seem super into it. So it sounds like that's potentially up in the air where I'd have to live stream the embarrassment of getting my beard ripped from my face.
Ooh, who gets to do that? Who's doing the shaving here?
I guess my dad would. I'd be at his place for Thanksgiving, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So terrible.
I get it.
Terrible
I get it.
news.
Okay. He's devious.
But William, you don't have to root for your team to lose. Again, as a fan, for me, if they lose, I rationalize it.
Absolutely.
Okay, a better pick. If they win, awesome. The euphoria of wins, and Aaron Glenn's in his first year. You want him to get wins so he can build his culture and all that jazz. So no, I wouldn't advocate for any of you guys out there in the audience to root for losses. You can do whatever you want, but for me, I won't be rooting for losses. But I will rationalize the result to make myself feel better. That's for sure.
Oh boy, yeah, and he goes on to say, Boy Green, that you're a man of your word, but I will shave off mine so you don't have to. So
he tried to dive in front of the bullet.
Shaver.
That's what I said. It's like if you ever played kickball
say.
when you were a kid and someone can babysit, you kick it and say, "Hey, can you go hit the base for me?" So I appreciate William. He did call into the show and said he would have sacrificed his own beard. Alon rejected that alteration suggestion. No babysitting allowed there. But hey, Baltimore didn't look that good against Cleveland. Shadur Sanders had a chance to almost win the game at the end. So this impenetrable Baltimore, who by the way has won 4 in a row, and they look awesome at 5-5, and it looks like they turned it around. They weren't that great. So maybe the Jets can do it. Maybe.
Stranger things have happened. That's why we play the games. I offer you my NFL picks every single week, where I just shake my head and go, "What in the world is happening here?"
Although I felt pretty good about my week.
So you hit a couple of lone wolves.
Finally,
how the group gave you a lone wolf on Philly, I don't understand. Nice. How the group gave you a lone wolf on Pittsburgh, and I should have stopped you there. I was there. I was on the fence in that game, and I let Dan Lombardo convince me, to take the Bengals in 5.5. Why did I do that? I wanted to take the Steelers the whole time. I had them marked. Remember, had to mark on my sheet, but I didn't have them circled. I'm telling you. This year for picks, all right, and I'm not making excuses. I am kind of, but I'm not making excuses, all right, because I live with the results, and I'll admit what I've done great and when I haven't done great. Over the years, I've been a very, very good picker of games. I've never finished under 500. I'm in danger of doing that this year, and I've won it a lot. Okay, most of the years that we've done it, we've done it roughly 10 years. I probably won like 7. Okay, and that's competing against real people, usually a group of 7 or 8 people at a minimum, everybody picking the games, so it's not like you just, you're playing against one of the 2 other guys. Okay. So there's a lot of people in it every year. This year, for whatever reason, I just keep going against my traditions, the things that have gotten me there. I just keep I know that, but I keep doing this to myself. I know the Steelers are really rock solid at home, even when they're given some points like that. And Cincinnati's got no defense. It should have just been a circle and move on.
Yeah.
But then I was like, Rodgers is just really bothering me this year. It just looks like garbage. And, Cincinnati, man, Flacco's got their number. Remember the first game. I let it all the doubt creep in when I had a rock solid. No, Pittsburgh at home. It's less than a touchdown. They're going to win that game. And I allow this nonsense to creep into my mind. I'm going to try this week. I've said this a few weeks ago, but I'm going to try this week to just not let this, no more noise. I'm going away from the noise. I'm looking at the games, and I'm going to pick the games on the merits of what have been tried and true things for me over the years with certain teams and certain circumstances. I'm the nutty warm weather team in a cold weather place. Take the cold weather team every single time.
Yeah.
Cold weather team in a warm weather place. Weird things happen sometimes too, and you can go against it, buck that trend. Home team underdogs have always been good to me, and yet I keep not circling home team underdogs. Who are home team underdogs I should have picked this week that I did not pick? Denver. Should have picked them. Didn't.
I love
Cleveland.
that pick.
Should have picked them. Didn't. Tennessee, I did pick them. And I ended up with a push on the Giants. We all got a push on the Giants.
Yes.
But so at least I picked some. I nailed Jacksonville too. But I should have picked Cleveland and Denver, or at least one of the 2 of them. I mean, I don't have to pick every home team underdog, but it's been good to me. What am I doing? Why? Especially in games where I'm on the fence. I was on the fence. I rolled out all the statistics on Cleveland and how they always hang in there with these guys, and 4 of the last 5 times, and then I go against it. What am I doing? Go with the trends. Go with the things that are there, that are out there, that are tangible. I just keep convincing myself out of it. So I'm very, very upset with my picks. I'm going to go at least 500. I have a chance if I win the game tonight to go over 500 by a couple of games. But that to me is trash when I keep going against the things that I shouldn't go against. And I could have had a 10-win week this week if I was just smart. And I'm not. I'm not being smart with my picks. I'm mad. I'm mad at myself. Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense. But perhaps, Lurch, it's time to go
be the
full
opposite
Oppo.
Guy. Not yet. I'm not. No, because I'm not picking that poorly. Oh, Oppo, I'm going to be 7-7 again. Oppo is nothing for me this year. It's not like I'm going 3-10. I keep going 7-7, and then 3 or 4 pivotal games. I keep convincing myself to switch. Just stop it. I'm not listening to Lombardo anymore. I'm circling my picks.
Okay.
I'm not listening to the noise. I'm not going with the trends. I'm picking my games and I'm living with it. That's it.
Okay.
I'm going in fully circled sheet. Okay. And picking and just saying, nope, that's what I decided.
And you don't care what anyone says during the broadcast of our.
If something that I didn't think of comes up, like
there's
there's always
injury
that chance,
or something.
like, oh gosh, that's right. Lamar's not playing this weekend. Oh my goodness, I did the other way. All right. But barring something like that, I am not just, Lombardo built a good case. Let me go with him, Like he was just selling me on Cincinnati. I don't think he meant to, but he was. And then I was like, but I have Pittsburgh marked. You're right. I mean, God, Flacco the last time, and Tomlin hates Flacco. I just let myself go down that deep, dark path. I shouldn't have done it. All right, enough of my picks. Let's get into some more of these football
Well,
stories.
let's talk about that, Lurch, just because we're swimming in the AFC North. Big Aaron Rodgers news. He goes down during the game yesterday. Still waiting MRIs, but there's some early reporting that there's a fracture or break in his wrist. Which
it is his non-throwing hand, we should say.
Yes, that's true. As he was getting sacked, people try to catch themselves. Like if you fall down your house, you throw your arms back, try to catch it. And unfortunately, that's what Aaron Rodgers did. So it's just compression of body weight, the guy on top of him, all forcing down there. So it could be a fracture or break in the wrist, which would mean he would miss time, which means Mason Rudolph is in. And again, the Baltimore Ravens have got back to 500. They're breathing down the necks of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who thought they were all well and good at the top of the division, but all of a sudden they were going from playing to win to playing not to lose, and now all of a sudden they're feeling the gap shrink and shrink and shrink. Are the Steelers screwed if Mason Rudolph has to start a significant amount of games the rest of the season here, Lurch?
I wouldn't say they're screwed because Rudolph has in spurts. Now, I don't want him, quarterback of my team for a season, but Rudolph has proven in spurts. He's a system guy. He knows what Tomlin wants. If he stays away from mistakes, he can. Pittsburgh's been game managing their whole team this year. It's just,
100%.
I mean, the defense was atrocious earlier in the year, and they were still finding ways to win games. And now the defense is starting to pick it up, and they're starting to create turnovers. And then the offense looks very inefficient, and they're still finding ways to win games. I don't know. It's that Mike Tomlin coaching. It's that discipline. It's just the Steelers thing. They're always tough to beat at home. I still think at this point, I think the Ravens are going to win this division. I'm convinced now. They remain still a game back. I think they're going to win the division. It feels to me like the Ravens, even though they're still not playing great football, are gaining momentum every week. And it feels like the Steelers just keep surviving. All right.
Okay.
So
well,
both teams probably make the playoffs, but I think that the Ravens are going to win the division. I know there's been a lot of talking teams. I'm not the first person to say that.
No, definitely not. Let's get both of them up. So I have both schedules here, the Ravens and Steelers games remaining. And shout out to the NFL schedule makers, by the way, for how they set this up, because now we're going to have maximum drama down the stretch here. It's okay. This is the Baltimore Ravens first. This is their schedule. Home for the Jets, home for the Bengals, home for the Steelers, at Cincinnati, home for New England, at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh. Ravens and Baltimore and Pittsburgh have not played at all yet this season. They still have 2 games remaining, obviously, as you see the schedule. So the Ravens right now are 5-5. Lurch, what do you believe their record will be looking at the schedule?
6, 7, 8. I think they're going to get to 9 wins at a minimum. I think they're going to get to 9.
Okay, so let's put them at 9-8 for a second. Let's look over.
Yep.
This is the Steelers' remaining schedule: at Chicago, home for Buffalo, at Baltimore, home for Miami, at Detroit, at Cleveland, home for Baltimore. They are currently 6-4. So the Steelers have 1 win better right now than Baltimore. What do they finish up with as you look at this schedule?
6.
Well, they're already at 6, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm just counting here.
Okay.
7. I can build a case they're only going to get to 8. I don't know if I'd bet on it. I think it's more likely they also get to 9.
Okay, what are the 3 or you think it may only be 8? What are the only 2 wins that you see on the schedule?
Miami, Cleveland.
Wow, you wouldn't even give them Chicago?
In Chicago, tough. No, I'm not going to give them Chicago.
And what about either of the Baltimore games?
I think Baltimore, if they want to win the division, they've got to get them. So
okay, all right.
I think they're going to get them.
Wow,
it's going to be a tough get. Those teams usually split. Those teams usually split. But again, Baltimore gets them at home first, so they get that win.
Yeah.
All right. And they've got 2 easy games lead into that. So now they're breathing down their throat. They may even be tied with them at this point. All right. And then theoretically, by the time they get to at Pittsburgh in week 18, if that game is needed to decide the division, Baltimore's a lot healthier team by then.
Probably,
they have more guys back. They're just a healthier team. And Pittsburgh could still be playing with Rudolph. Who knows?
Could be, a fractured wrist. What's the recovery timeline on that?
I'll tell you what. Well, this is an interesting one because I know part of a quarterback's job is obviously receiving the snap.
Sure, of course. Right.
And you use both hands for that. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers and there's a way that they can cast me up, okay, and keep that wrist protected, okay, and I can still handle snaps and get the ball and handle a handoff. Is it painful? Is it going to be painful for him to take his left hand? Because, sometimes quarterbacks hand the ball off with their left hand and put it into the gut of it. If that's painful, and you can't just take a shot, to numb it up, then, okay, I guess he's going to be sitting for a while. But if you think
there's a world where he can potentially play with this?
I'm just saying, I don't know if there's a world, but if I were him, I'd be fighting for that world. This is it, man. This is his last hurrah.
Probably, yeah.
Go out and blazing. I mean, Baker Mayfield would cast it up. He'd probably put an ace bandage on and go, who cares? Okay, we'll deal with it after the season. Let's go. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers needs to show a little Baker Mayfield moxie here and say, I'm not letting my team go down. The Ravens are breathing down our throats, and I need to be out there to secure these wins and to make these crucial plays in games. Unless I'm on a cart, man, I'm going out there. That's what you're telling your coach. That's what you're telling your team. That's what you're trying to do. I don't know that Rodgers will do that, but that's what he should be doing, in my opinion.
Well, apparently he did try to get back into the game yesterday. The coaching staff said absolutely not, or the medical staff, whoever intercepted and said you can't, as Mason Rudolph was in the game. So we'll see.
Anybody ever see Seabiscuit, the movie? You seen Seabiscuit?
I have not seen Seabiscuit.
Okay. You should see Seabiscuit. Okay. It's a very, very good movie.
Oh, by the way, did you see my movie? Whatever suggestion. Oh, Split. Did you get a chance to see Split yet?
I did see Split. Wow, that is
okay. We'll have to unpack that later. I just want to make sure you did your homework. Okay, great. We'll check out that later.
I watched it within a day of when we talked.
Just tell me this. This is the only part I need to know before you tell your Seabiscuit story. Was my recommendation valid?
Yes, your recommendation was valid.
Okay.
What I would push back on is, listen, sometimes for some people, the subject matter itself is so disturbing that it's hard to fully enjoy the movie because it's so so
you couldn't engage.
I'm just saying that I wanted to keep it at arm's length because it's such a serious subject and he's doing some really messed up stuff. And I'm just oh gosh, I hate stuff like this. Okay. So it was a little rough for me.
Okay.
But he's tremendous. I mean, who's the actor?
What an actor.
Who's the actor?
James McAvoy, I believe.
Yeah, James McAvoy he was very compelling as a multi-personality person. I mean, he
got into the character building there clearly during the process of
that. Was no easy acting job. That was some very, very good acting.
And he sold it. I was totally in. I thought it was a real character. And
it was the subject matter itself that made it harder for me to fully enjoy it, Boy Green.
Okay.
But I was still riveted. But I was just like, oh,
okay.
I don't know. I'm not a big horror movie fan. So when
Neither am
things
I,
get a
to be
little
honest.
icky and scary to me, sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm not liking this. Like, I don't like it. I'm getting stressed.
Yeah, there's clearly a flavor of horror.
Yeah.
I don't know how
There
that
is.
categorizes in
Definitely
something like that,
there
but
is.
clearly
This movie.
it's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is very, very tense movie.
Oh, very tense. That's a good word for it. Yes.
And and I think the tenseness is you just like you don't know what he's gonna do. You know,
You're right. It's a psychopath.
this
You're on
get,
edge.
Yeah,
Like,
this could get really bad. And it's these young girls, and you just feel for them, and you're like, gosh, please let them escape. This is crazy. When's the
100%.
rescue coming?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
guys, check out that movie if you haven't seen
check it out.
That is
Check it out.
real
But
treat.
if you love horror, you will if you like horror, you'll love this movie. If you don't, you might have some of the same reaction I had, but you will appreciate McAvoy's performance. He's really, really good in this movie.
Okay, sorry to distract you. Give me Seabiscuit.
No. Okay, Seabiscuit. So but in Seabiscuit, the jockey of Seabiscuit gets badly hurt in the movie in an accident. I think it's based on a true story. So this elements of this happened.
Okay.
And his leg was shattered.
Jesus.
Okay.
But
this horse and this job as this horse's jockey had been a long journey for him to get credibility in the racing world.
Okay.
And then he has this terrible injury after the horse is now world renowned and he's the rider and he's winning on this horse regularly. And this horse has become a phenomenon. Then this terrible accident happens.
Okay.
And he can't ride.
Yeah.
And so one of the best jockeys in the world takes over for him, and Seabiscuit keeps winning. All right. And now he's watching from the sidelines. But while he's watching, he's trying to get better. All right. And he's not really better. And the doctors basically say that if he rides again, his leg can completely shatter. He could never walk again. So he's walking with a limp and he's got like a brace or something, but they're saying he could never walk again. And the owner who makes this decision, who's played by Jeff Bridges, is just like, he lost his son in a terrible accident at the beginning of the movie. This jockey in some ways kind of represents his son in his life. And he just doesn't want to put him in harm's way again. Yeah. And yet the jockey needs to be back on this horse because the only meaning he has in life, is being this horse's jockey.
Yeah.
And it gets to the end of the movie, and it's kind of the seminal scene where he creates this device for his leg. It's like, looks like a leather thing, and he ties it with shoelaces. I mean, this is the early 1900s. This is the 1930s.
The technologies, right, that are available. Right.
It's like 1930. Okay.
Yeah.
And he says, I created this and my leg feels fine in it and I can put pressure on it and so on and so forth. And they're hesitant, but they let him ride. Okay. And then the scene kind of ends with him riding to victory. He wins this race that he had
Spoiler
lost.
alert.
Spoiler alert. But it was that thing of like, this is my destiny and I don't care if it costs me my life.
Right.
It's too important. And I'm not trying to put that kind of craziness on the Aaron Rodgers thing, but I'm saying like, but I would like to know that Rodgers feels that way. And that
you're in first place in the AFC
and the
North,
doctors only that say you are not allowed to do this, or it is the team owner that says we're not risking it no matter what. Sorry. Let them make the decision for you. You be the one, if possible.
Push.
If you feel like you could physically do it, with whatever medical advances they have out there, to get back out there and do it, because the season's on the line.
And how many chances?
End of the career, right? This is the end of it all. This might be his last season. Like, you're going to miss 4 games at a critical moment of the season, so you can get your
when you're in first place
better.
In the division,
So again, I'm not trying to put it on him. I don't know all the the medical parameters, but what I would want to see if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a bit of a Steelers fan myself.
You
all right, but what I would want to see as a Steelers fan is this guy doing everything he can to play. And that every word that comes out of his mouth for the next week is, put me out there, coach. Get me out there, coach. I want to be out there, fans. Anything. Put a brace on it. Put a club on it. Cover it. I don't care. I can still look. I can still snap it. Show it. Let me show you. I can still get it. I can still hand it off. It's fine. Shoot me up. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. So we'll see if that's the Rodgers that we get here or not. But I would want it to be ordered by doctors, because I think this guy's legacy, I know he already has a great legacy. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame, but this is his last hurrah. Is he going to make it? Is he going to do it, all in or not? That's what football fans want to see.
For sure.
It's like a hero mentality, but it is what it is. All right, let's go from that story to this story, the spitting incident. Okay.
Oh, boy.
As a matter of fact, hold off your thoughts. I'm just going to take 30 seconds. We have a sponsor today. It's our lovely friends at Box Drop Syracuse. So When we come back, Boy Green, your reaction to the second spitter. Okay, we saw one earlier in Philadelphia, so this guy's the second spitter. Good little play on Seinfeld. All right after this word from our lovely, lovely friends at Box Drop Mattress and Sofa. Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com. All right, we are back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Hey, there it is, the second spitter scene there, like the little picture there, Boy Green. That was a great. That's Keith Hernandez, double episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, terrific.
Where who did they accuse? Was it Kramer that they accused, or was it Newman that they accused of spitting on Hernandez?
Right.
And it turned out to be Roger McDowell, by the way, another spoiler.
Yes, right.
The Met reliever who was always known for his pranks. All right. Anyway.
I believe that Kramer and them thought.
They thought Hernandez spit on
them
right.
because they passed it by. Yes.
Spit from the gravelly road, which was a play on the grassy
right here.
wall.
And then Seinfeld is grabbing, measuring the angles.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very good Jerry scene in Seinfeld when he becomes that's a play on the movie JFK.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor who was, trying to show that this was a conspiracy. I forget the guy's name. It's escaping me right now, the prosecutor's name. But anyway, yeah. And so they thought it was Hernandez that spit on him, and it was actually McDowell that spit on Newman. I think Newman was the one that got spit on. Anyway, speaking of spitting, Jamar Chase, who vehemently denied after the game at the podium that he spit on Jalen Ramsey. And of course, with all of the cameras that the NFL has, with all the cameras that are there independently for stations that are covering the game, of course, there was a camera who got them jawing and had clearly a viewpoint that proved that Jamar, definitively spit on the guy. Spit came flying out of his mouth in the direction of Ramsey, and they were about a foot apart. So, it seems like it's indisputable evidence.
Undeniable,
Undeniable. But he did deny it. Now, Ramsey was ejected because he threw a punch at him after the spit. But I got to believe that there's a suspension coming for Jamar Chase. It looks like the evidence is too overwhelming.
Yeah, I think completely so. And you have to, like we always in football, it's always the second guy, right?
Yep.
I go and shove Lurch. Lurch, like, what? Like, you just shoved me? And then he comes after me, and I'm like, oh my God.
And then you go flying.
What is this animal doing? And the ref goes like, Lurch, get the hell out of here. And they always get the second guy. The first guy, the instigator, never get that guy.
So
and you have to think, why would Jalen Ramsey react that way? That's like normal human reaction. All of a sudden we go crazy and start throwing punches. Like, again, I just wish there was some of that. Again, I know you got to judge on what you see. If you don't see it, but it just seems so clear as day in the NFL where we have a million angles that you can't wire down. We're having all this replay assistance is the new thing in 2025 that it's up. They throw the ball. It's incomplete. Wire down to the ref's ear. Replay assist tells me we called it white. It was clearly black. That was a catch. Replay assistant super quick. That was a catch. Apologies, folks. Let's keep it moving. So with that you can't wire down and say, we got the angle. He hacked a loogie on him. I mean, guys, the spit habit, and then to be able to respond to that based on that, that's just, it seemed clear as day. It seemed pretty clear as day.
So he's probably going to get a game because if you go back again to the Philadelphia game, I know they didn't give Jalen Carter game,
correct,
but he was ejected very early in the first quarter. This happened very early in the game. So I think the NFL said something about it afterwards that they decided not to give him a second game because they felt like they gave him a game because he was ejected at the very beginning of the game. This obviously happened much later. So this is going to be a game for Jamar Chase. I don't see any way around it.
Well, also remember that that in that situation, which you said, Dak spit at Jalen Carter, that he went back to him. But again, Dak, as they show in other footage throughout the game, he just spits all the time. That's just a weird tick, I guess he has. He just spits downward. But no, on this one, again, it seems pretty clear as day there, Lurch, that Jamar Chase not only did in fact spit, so did he spit or not in general, but that he clearly, and not to get too grotesque here, Lurch, but it seems like that was a lot of spit that was getting thrown the way of Jalen Ramsey. We actually have the footage, Lurch, so
we do.
I know we had to review that later in Seinfeld of getting the right footage, the right angles of seeing a pew, and then it deflected and ricocheted off here and there. Here you go. Here's the footage. This is as close of a camera angle as they have in the National Football League. Here it is. Let's go to the footage.
Definitive to me.
Here we go.
Yeah, so you see it there. Yeah,
I mean,
you see it there.
And then the immediate reaction from Jalen Ramsey, what the heck? Oh yeah, that seems clear as day. So man, so I agree, especially spitting. Oh my, you got to keep that. Where's the line somewhere? So you have to. So in one respect, I have to say I totally agree with that punishment if that's what ends up coming down the pike, that they have to crack the whip. The other part, I feel terrible for fantasy football owners that have Jamar Chase, and now because of this, they're losing a number 1 overall pick. Guy, thankfully, I traded away Jamar Chase, so whoo, thank goodness. But for people in key situations, they're going to lose their superstar wide receiver likely for a game. Again, if that becomes official during the show, we'll bring that in.
Yeah, right. You're right, Jamie. Carter was actually right. It was in the pregame, right, or whatever when that happened.
Yeah, I forgot what he did. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was that. And there's another famous spitting incident that people will go back to, the Bill Romanowski spitting incident.
Yes. God. Oh yeah.
That was an awful one. So being pointed out here by the Savage Jet D. Rusty Spooner. Thank you for that. Yeah, Romanowski. Remember that very, very much. Right. I think he was with the Niners at the time when that spitting incident happened. But
yes,
if my recollection is
also, just to clear up the Jalen Carter thing. So what happened is, I believe the kick.
Remind us of what went on there.
Yeah. So I believe the kickoff went through the back of the end zone. So again, the clock read 15 minutes in the first quarter.
Okay.
So a play had not
expired.
Right. No time had expired, but the first kick happened. And then as things were happening, the two teams are lining up. You're waiting for TV and all that stuff coming up. That's when they were close to each other. And there was Jalen appeared to get over to Dak and spit in his direction. Dak appeared to quote unquote spit back, but he did not. He was just spitting forward, and then he got ejected because enough of them saw it. So that was it. I know we have all these different situations, so just to clear up some of that action. That was back in week 1, the Thursday night season opener of the season. To kick off the 2025 year, which is crazy.
Correctamundo.
Another injury thing here, real quick, Lurch.
Just
coming in. Lane Johnson, the Philadelphia Eagles All-Pro right tackle, has a Liz Frank sprain. He is out a month plus for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's the injury that Andrew Thomas had, the Liz Frank.
Yeah, and that could be nasty. So he
kept him.
He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. That's a month plus. That's critically important. Now, good for the Eagles. They're in such a position with the NFC East. Washington has collapsed. The Giants aren't winning the division. Dallas is unlikely to get back in that mix. Maybe there's a wild card path for them. So the good news for the Eagles is they should have the benefit of time. They're in the running for the number 1 seed. They took out the Detroit Lions last night on Sunday Night Football. But big injury issue. Lane Johnson got hurt actually a couple of weeks ago, and then he's just kept trying to power through it. So that is as the Savage Jedi Rusty Spooner says, that's a bad nagging injury. Yes.
All right, a couple other things. Get your comments on BG. Let's. You were a big JJ McCarthy fan coming in.
Oh yes, massive.
I know we talked a lot about it leading up to fantasy. You were very, very interested on getting him on as many of your fantasy rosters as possible. I think you drafted him in 1 or 2 of the leagues. As a second quarterback. Should JJ McCarthy be benched the way that he's playing right now? Do they have any options there? Because boy, he looked awful yesterday. Awful.
Yeah, he looked terrible, and I thought I had the right temperature because a bunch of years ago, as I like to bring up as often as possible, that I had Patrick Mahomes right when he was not a rookie; it was his second year, and I'm like, guys, this is my hidden. I don't want to tell anybody, right? Joe Bartle's on all these fantasy shows. If I was in his position, I couldn't have kept it secret. I would have screamed it from the rooftops. But in our position, we only talk fantasy once a week, and I ask the questions. No one's asking me the question, so I could keep it secret. And when I drafted him, I'm like, ooh, I think he's going to be awesome. And then he was the MVP, and I ended up winning one of the fantasy championships, which was awesome. I had another vibe that J.J. McCarthy with Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, all these weapons. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's bubbling. This is perfect. No one's drafting this guy, and I'm going to hit it. And to be honest, Lurch, to everything you just said, I mean, he has been absolutely atrocious. Of course, he missed a couple of weeks in the middle of the season due to injury. But they have, here's the blunt truth, Lurch, they have no one to turn to. Carson Wentz is a person they did turn to for a stretch of the season when he was hurt. Carson Wentz is out for the year. He's gone. The only other choice that the Vikings currently have in their roster, and it's a good local story for the people around there, is Minnesota rookie quarterback Max Brosmer. And he is obviously, as a rookie, zero experience. I believe he's an undrafted free agent. I don't even know if he was drafted. I will confirm that news in just a second. So long story short, they have no one to turn to. Now, where do they have to turn to after this year? There were all those rumors that Aaron Rodgers wanted to be a Viking, but the Vikings said, man, we believe in J.J. McCarthy. It looks like that didn't work out. Aaron only signed a one-year deal with Pittsburgh. That could be one more last hurrah of go back to Minnesota and give it to Green Bay twice and all that jazz. And Kevin O'Connell is his buddy. Great system. Justin Jefferson. I mean, the sell job's easy for Aaron to go back there to the Vikings and go and do that. So that could be something, a fun, sexy topic that we could talk about during the offseason. But for now, they're screwed. They're all in on McCarthy. Justin Jefferson is understandably frustrated throwing his helmet and everything else. It's like, good Lord, man, I'm Justin Jefferson. It's not that hard to throw to me. I've got a massive wingspan and catch radius here to show up my general direction. I'll make crazy plays. And it's been disappointing because I was real, as you just mentioned, I was very high on J.J. McCarthy. And now you look at the Vikings, Lurch, they're in last place in the NFC North, and look at their division.
Yes.
They're 7-3. Packers are 6-3-1. Lions are 6-4. And now the Vikings sit all the way on the bottom of the division at 4-6. I mean, I just don't see the path. And it just goes to show you, Lurch, here's how thin that line is. Someone brought it up earlier, right? Vikings last year win 14 games. Now they only have 4 wins. Lamar, as it currently stands, would miss the playoffs. Mahomes would miss the playoffs.
Right.
Burrow would miss the playoffs. Like, what? We're going to have a playoff potential without some of these guys.
Missing all these guys.
Lamar's going to be making this crazy comeback, so maybe he re-enters the conversation. But a team that won 14 games last year could then all of a sudden miss the playoffs. Some of these superstar quarterbacks or straws that stir the drink of the National Football League could all be out. Like, man, the NFL's crazy. That's what makes this so fun that we get to do these Overreaction Monday shows every week and talk NFL, and that's what the breadth of this entire channel is about, is doing a lot of NFL football. It's crazy. It's hard. It's hard to keep up with. Everything's changing so drastically, which I think gives hope to a lot of fans on a year-to-year basis that your team could go from worst to first and flip it because it happens so often in the league.
So answer this question. We're 11 weeks through the regular season.
Sure.
We have gotten a good look at everybody.
Yep.
I give you one team, Boy Green, to win it all. Who's that team? There's not a singular dominating team in the league. Who you got?
If I had to pick one, I would pick, and again, no matter who I pick has
fleas.
They
all have fleas.
Right? They do. So like the teams that have 2 wins in football, or 2 losses, excuse me. The Denver Broncos 9-2, New England Patriots 9-2, the Eagles 8-2, Rams 8-2, Colts 8-2. Those are the 5 teams in the NFL that only have 2 losses on the season. And by the way, salute to the AFC having 3 of those top 5 teams, which is incredible. If I had to pick one team that was going to win the Super Bowl right now, it would be the Denver Broncos. And again, the fleas on offense. And what I'm hoping for is Sean Payton's this offensive mastermind that eventually it's just going to click. We saw a few bursts in the Chiefs game last night where they were able to, there it is. Oh, there it is. But it's hard to even, I say that because that's the answer to the question. But man, like New England, you question who they've beaten. They have beaten 2 really good teams in Buffalo and Tampa Bay, which I think are really good wins. so if you want to pick the team that gives you perhaps the most faith, it's probably the Rams, because Sean McVay and the Rams have done it before. So they're a team I imagine inspires a lot of faith. The Colts haven't been here in this position, so they're a total wild card. And if Sauce is able to turn this around and Daniel Jones turns back into the player that he was throughout much of the season as an MVP candidate, you feel there. Eagles sort of feels like a TNT. That's a ticking time bomb. That thing could blow up at any second. And again, Lurch.
How they're getting it done, I don't know. It's disgusting.
Lurch, speaking of disgusting, one of the worst takes you've ever had is blowouts coming, and the Lions are going to blow out the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. What in the world?
That was awful. That was such a brutal performance. I was like, wow. Yeah, that's the nature of picking games. You're going to stick your neck out once in a while. Boy, I stuck my neck out for Detroit, and they did not deliver. 16-9. That game was a bore fest, man. That was brutal. There were a lot of low-scoring games in the NFL yesterday. A lot of low-scoring. Joe Bartle was right about something that I should give him some credit for. We asked him. Remember, I asked him. I looked at some various games that looked like they could be big-scoring games, like Seattle and the Rams. I forget the other games I pointed out. I'm looking at the slate here. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Buffalo.
Tampa we have breaking news, Lurch, again.
Okay. All right, let me finish the start, and then you can jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
But Bartle said he thought the highest scoring game of the weekend would be Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and he nailed it. 44-32. That was by far the highest scoring game. All right, go ahead. What's the breaking news?
The Jets are making a quarterback change. Justin Fields is getting benched to Tyrod Taylor. Breaking news from NFL insider Diana Rossini.
There's nothing breaking about that news. I mean, that is.
You don't think so?
No, that is as obvious a thing that has to happen as there could possibly be. I just warn all you Jet fans.
Hi, God, baby.
Yeah, he's not good. So, okay.
He's better than Fields from a throwing perspective.
Yeah, but that's not saying much. Fields throws for less than 100 yards a game typically. Tyrod on a good day might throw for 150. I don't know, man. If he gets over 200 yards, he's had an absolute gem. And that's not usually the standard by which we measure throwing quarterbacks. Is hey, throw for over 2. I mean,
here's the surprising
for the good quarterbacks.
Well, here's the surprising thing, Lurch, is you said you didn't think that we were going to find out this news today, even if they were to make a change.
I thought Glenn would be cagey because that's what he's been, Which go ask Rich Samini about our injuries. I mean, come on.
Now, so far, Aaron Glenn didn't announce that. That's an NFL insider report, so we'll see when AG inevitably. We'll see when AG
coming from AG. Oh, this is
trouble. That's from Diana Rossini of the Athletic. So we'll see if other reporters confirm said news with their sourcing and things of that nature. But Wow.
Oh, he's going to be mad again. The media has gotten to a story that he didn't put out himself.
That's true. Let me ask you this question, Lurch, because AG was actually asked about this a couple weeks ago. So he was asked all those quarterback questions. He got all feisty. But then eventually, in the middle of the presser, they asked, hey, AG, if you were to ever make a change, I'm not saying you are, but if you ever did, can you go back to a guy, right? So you crown Justin Fields a QB1 during the offseason. He's the guy. And if for whatever reason, later in the year, you decide to go to Tyrod, could you go back to Justin? And he talked about sort of the nuances of that and leadership and this, so what it would matter. I ask you, Lurch, the Jets have made this change, according to Diana Rossini, NFL insider from The Athletic. Do you believe once you make this change, outside of injury, obviously, you have no choice. Can you go back once you make this change? Now that the Jets are going down the Tyrod Taylor train, can they just turn around and go back to Justin if the Tyrod thing doesn't work out? Or is this the sort of decision, once you go down this road, there's no way to put the toothpaste back in the tube?
You can never say never in football. So my answer to your question is, of course you can go back to the other guy. The problem with it is that it hurts your credibility as a leader. When you put your faith and your stock in a guy and you hype a guy up or you say good things about him or you tell him he's earned this job, then it makes it more difficult to retract from that because you're selling off your own credibility. How am I to believe you the next time if you're constantly a waffler? Nobody believes a waffler, right? They're waffle. Right. So that's where it hurts. But this is based solely on performance. And Fields has been just an awful performer. He's had a couple of decent ones, but generally speaking, he's been an awful performer. If Tyrod goes out there and is an awful performer, right, and he can't run like Fields, at least Fields has the one gift. He can run. Given freedom to run, he can run as good as maybe only one other quarterback in the NFL, and that guy's kind of hurt right now, and that's Lamar Jackson, who only ran for 10 yards yesterday. All right. Yeah. Outside of Lamar, I could make a completely compelling argument that Justin Fields is the next best running quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Maybe Josh Allen also. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe third. Okay. But he's one of the top running quarterbacks in the NFL when let loose.
Yeah.
So at least he has that weapon. If Tyrod can't throw, if he can't complete passes, if he can't get the ball down the field in any way, shape, or form, then he's really a useless quarterback, useless in that role. And you would probably have no choice but to go back to Fields. It's just the lesser of two evils. It's just, all right, we'll try this week. You're throwing things at the wall kind of thing. But it hurts your credibility when you do that. So you never, I don't think you should ever as a coach make anything definitive. You know me, I'm PR 101 guy.
Sure.
Okay. I am a big believer in be careful about what you say, because these reporters are running with it. Okay. They are POM, prisoners of the moment. They love today's story, and they're looking for a new one tomorrow and a new one the day after that. And if you keep giving them stuff, they will continue to write those stories, in some cases, ones that you don't want them to write. So the gift of being a good coach when it comes to PR is basically saying nothing 95% of the time. Okay. I have faith in Tyrod. Justin's not performing well right now. We're going to turn to Tyrod, and we really hope that he can take over this job for the rest of the season. That's what you say. We really hope that he can take this job over for the rest of the season. This way, if Tyrod does go out and have 2 straight awful games, even more awful than Fields, if that's even humanly possible, you can say, well, Tyrod didn't, unfortunately, take over the role. Therefore, this week with the matchup, we're going to go back to Justin and see how it goes. So it gives you that flexibility. If you go out there and say, Tyrod's the guy the rest of the year, now you've set yourself up for failure. You just can't do that. So it's just an awful situation. They're all bad, and they're just trying to find the least bad guy right now with the Jets. So I feel for them, but that's what you're up against. So don't go out there and say anything emphatic, because they're both bad. You say emphatic things about bad guys. It's not good.
I think so. The news I'm waiting for now. So okay, that's big news. To make that change. This is the first time this season that Aaron Glenn is making a quarterback change, not having anything to do with injury. Every other change, in terms of a starter for a week, he has benched Justin Fields at halftime of a game in the moment, but then was ready to go right back to him. This is the first time that he's making a change based on just the performance on the field.
I get it.
Now, where does Justin Fields go? Is he QB2 or is he QB3? Is Brady Cook now signed to the active roster, and now he's your QB2? And that means eventually, if Tyrod isn't capable, that you turn to Brady Cook for the final couple games of the season, and all hell has broken loose. Because for me, with Justin Fields, now that he's at minimum backup, we're going to see if there's an update here shortly. I would still use him as a runner. What do I have to lose? He is $30 million guaranteed. I've already paid.
Run him at the goal line.
100%. I've paid for the product.
Right.
I am absolutely having a package of plays. Ravens, get ready. I'm having a package of plays where Justin Fields comes out there and Wildcat or QB sweeps or all kinds of things. And then I take Tyrod off the field, or you play him at fake wide receiver, whatever you want to do. Maybe have some trickeration. You're 2-8. You have nothing to lose. But Justin, I already paid you $30 million guaranteed. You're damn sure not going to be holding the clipboard. You're getting back out there and being my running quarterback for a handful of packages. That's how I would use him personally.
Plus, you don't want the guy's value to go to zero. I mean, because they have him under contract for 2 years, this year and next year.
Correct.
So they're paying him for the next 2 years. So you would love to theoretically jettison him off at some point, maybe even during this upcoming offseason, and you'd like to get something for the guy. If you just take a wrecking ball to him and you just find him, just say he's below worst guy in our team, okay, in terms of the quarterbacks. He's number 3 now. That's how bad he's been. Then you basically are telling everybody he's worth nothing. And then you're just going to end up paying him or just cutting him and paying him anyway. So it doesn't play well for the Jets to just forget all about it. So I agree with you. Use them where you can use them. I wouldn't be against, unless Tyrod's having a great game, playing him in situations, putting him in positions where he can help your team. There are places where this guy can still help a football team. I guess he would never do it, but I honestly think at this point, the way this has gone, and he has had now, is at least 3 or is it 4 organizations? How many has he played for already? I think it's 4 teams. Fields. So it's the Jets.
No, this is his 13th.
This is his third?
13. Bears, Steelers, Jets.
I mean, he's still relatively young.
26.
26. If I were his next head coach, I would severely be convincing him that he's not a quarterback. And I would be playing him at a different position.
It's a little late.
But... I know it is, but who cares? I mean, a football career is a football career. He doesn't have a future as a quarterback in the NFL. I don't think. All right. And I don't know that there's any coach or GM in the league after this season is done that is going to feel like he is. So why not? Because he has a very unique skill set with his legs and he's a supreme athlete. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Could he be some kind of like a different version of, because this guy's a battering ram, but could he be a different version of Taysom Hill? All right.
Sure.
Could he be a different version? Like you use him at the goal line, but use him in a completely different way, you know?
And he's a more accomplished passer, I would say.
He is. Right. So and you could actually use him in gadget plays where he actually could throw the ball down the field and throw it 50 yards and have a big play. Like, I don't know. I just think of anything that I can do as long as I'm paying this guy to utilize him in different ways and make him about Taysom Hill. I mean, you have to say, like, he wouldn't be in the NFL right now if they just said he's a quarterback and a quarterback only. I don't even know if he'd be on a roster. But because he can do the things that he can do, not only is he on the roster, he's stayed with the Saints how many years? He's been in the NFL. That guy's going to collect a pension. He's going to have, when it's all said and done, he's going to be fine. All right. So if I'm Justin Fields, I don't want to go out this way. You know, figure out another exit plan and be willing to do something different. That's
okay, what I think. Large. Here's a quick trivia. I won't play the music. How much career earnings do you think Taysom Hill has in the NFL? How much money do you think he's made? This is purely on the football field.
Just on the football field. How many years has he played? Can you tell me that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. 1 second. I'll pull that up for you. Let's see. Taysom Hill. Okay, so he's been here since 2017. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is 9th season.
9th season. This guy's hung around for 9 seasons. Okay.
Impressive. Yeah.
And is not a coach or GM in the NFL that believes he could be a starting quarterback.
Or obviously
even,
not.
Really, or even really a backup quarterback. Really.
Yeah, sure.
Really.
Right.
Okay. 9 years. I'm going to guess low, but I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to guess low. And I'm going to say 35.
$63 million is what Taysom Hill has, according to Spock Track that cover.
I think he's going to be okay.
63 million, and his career isn't over. He can hang around doing his whole shish kebab. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'm not surprised.
So
okay, there you go on that.
All this breaking news on the show today.
I know,
beyond the stuff we already had to talk about.
It's been a day. All right, a couple other that I don't want to get off without talking about before we get out of here.
Yes,
all right. And I want to jump into the comments too for anybody that threw off comments. Always love to get you to comments. You can always put comments in there. I promise. We'll always try to get to anything that you put up there that's viable, including even saying hello sometimes.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So Shedeur Sanders debut. What'd you think? And it was not a debut that was, again, a typical debut because he didn't expect to be out there. And then he got thrown out there. And then he completed his first 2 passes. And you're like, oh, and the crowd gave him a big roar as he came out onto the field because they were chanting, get Gabriel out of here, bring on Shedeur.
Yeah, because he was terrible, right?
Yeah. And then it all turned bad because, let's face it, that's a bad team with bad receivers and a bad offense. And it turned bad, which is not surprising. If I were him, I don't think I'd want to get on the field with that team right now. I think it only hurt his stock. He's better off getting traded somewhere else at some point and getting with a good offensive coordinator and good receivers, and that maybe give him a chance to be a viable starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know what this young kid's future is, but that wasn't an ideal debut. Give me a quickie on that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he gets thrown out there in the middle of the game. He has a chance to win at the end, despite how he performed, which was poorly, by the way. He performed poorly. I was a Shedeur fan in the pre-draft process. I thought, being around this his entire life, his dad's primetime Deion Sanders, that like he is uniquely qualified to understand what all of this is about. So when he gets his chance, he's going to be ready. Look at his very unique path from Jackson State to Colorado to the National Football League. But obviously there's been a lot of red flags over the last couple of months that indicated that.
Do you feel differently about him today than you did?
I do.
Because he hasn't really gotten a chance.
From a football perspective, no. It's not like yesterday's performance, he sucks.
So when you put it all in the blender, you say, yeah, I might have been wrong on this guy at this point.
Yes, that's 100% how I feel at this current moment in time. So yeah, a rough debut for Shedeur, but hey, with Dylan Gabriel hurt, Shedeur may get his very first start of the season. Again, much better environment against Las Vegas, so he has a chance with a full week of reps, and we can see where he goes from there.
At least give the kid; he deserves more of a chance than that quick look. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and we'll see ultimately what he is down the road, but it's not over. The book is barely written on this young man.
Right?
Where will it go? I don't know. Bryce Young, on the verge of being benched, Boy Green, goes out there and throws for over 400 yards. I think it was 4 touchdowns. It was at least 3 or 4.
Yeah, just under 500 yards. That's the most passing yards in Carolina Panthers franchise history.
Good grief. So you're GM of the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
How are you feeling today about Bryce Young?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they had the bulletin board material from our Friday pick show where you were like, we got this Panthers team. And me and Matt immediately go, Lurch, what are you talking about? They're in the middle of the playoff mix, and you're slapping around them like they're a tanking team. So some disrespect coming from the man.
Can I just say, Atlanta should have won that game. What would they do?
Maybe. Sure.
You don't utilize your team. What is with this team and their inability in critical moments to involve their best player? Their best player, they have 2 really good players, actually. They have Drake London, and they have the guy that I think is their best player, that's Bijan Robinson.
I think offense is pretty good, too. But yes.
He's a great player, okay?
Sure,
He's
100%.
a great player. He can do it all right? And yet in critical moments, like middle of the third to like the middle of the fourth quarter, the guy was a ghost. I mean, they're going 3 and out, 6 and out, and they're not even giving him the ball. Like, get that guy the ball. What are you doing? Even the announcers on the game were like, they ought to get Bijan back involved in this thing. I don't know why they've gone away from him. He had, a gazillion yards and was going crazy in the first half, and suddenly they've got a whole new game plan. Like, how about you get them to stop what you're doing well before you switch the game plan? So I don't understand what goes on in Atlanta. Bryce was amazing, particularly in the second half of that game. I just don't understand Atlanta, who I think, again, let another game get away from them. But kudos to Carolina. Yeah. Carolina is, as you say, they're legit right now.
100%. They're fully in the mix. They're a game out of first place in the NFC South. The Bucs.
Do you still feel comfortable with Bryce Young as your quarterback if you're the GM of the Carolina Panthers?
If I'm the GM of the Panthers, I do. And why do I? Okay. Because, well, I said it in the pre-draft process. I should be the poster boy for vertically challenged quarterbacks. Like I should be the advocate for these people. But getting into that draft, Bryce Young was a unique physical outlier. There's never been a quarterback at his height, his weight that has succeeded in the league. He is so frail that, man, and to be a number 1 overall pick, to make that kind of history in the NFL. Yeah, I know no other quarterback at this size has ever done it before, but you can do it with us. So if Carolina was willing to make that gamble then, why wouldn't you be willing now? You're in the middle of this. You're all in. Bryce Young is your guy. Now, we can wait to contract decision time and things of that nature. What do you do then? But right now in the moment, Bryce Young's your guy. And what a wild journey he's had, from number 1 overall pick to benched for Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, his family, unfortunately, getting a car accident. Thankfully, no one gets seriously hurt, but hurt enough where Bryce Young is forced back into the lineup, and that 3-week sabbatical apparently brought Bryce Young back to life like Frankenstein. And he's been on this heater ever since. Nothing quite to what we saw against the Falcons yesterday. He's in the mix, man. The Panthers are in the mix. They're in the playoff mix right now. We'll see what that matters when Panthers and Bucs are playing games against each other, but holy freaking crap. I don't know if I was a anonymous GM. Hey, do you want Bryce Young? No, thanks. No, I don't. I'd rather go in a different direction. But if you're on the Panthers, he's your guy and you're all in on him.
Sam Darnold will get one more chance from me, Boy Green, and then that's it. Okay?
Wow.
I thought that yesterday, even though that game was in LA, that Sam Darnold, having considered what happened last year, what the Rams did to him last year in the playoffs, that he was going to come out gangbusters. Well, he did. He came up gangbusters, throwing the ball to the wrong team. 4 interceptions in this game. His team still only loses by 2 points, which is unbelievable. I mean, the Rams were not impressive yesterday. They got a 4-turnover gift from the opposing quarterback and only won by 2. And Seattle had chances at the end of that game. So that's insane. But the Rams did pull it out. And Darnold was, as the great Johnny Most would say, a disgusting, despicable display.
Yeah.
All right. It was awful. But I will give Darnold one more chance. This was a pivotal game in that division. The thing is, they will have this same matchup in LA a number of weeks down the road on the schedule. If Sam Darnold lays an egg in that game, then I'm off the bandwagon. Then he is the playoff pretender that we saw last year with the Vikings. Now I understand why the Vikings let him go, even though they've stepped into it terribly with J.J. McCarthy. It doesn't seem that they have a quarterback of their future, at least at the moment. All right. So they gave away a guy who really looked good, at least as a regular season quarterback, for a guy that can't even do it in the regular season. That's disgusting on their part. But we'll see. He gets one more chance, one more swing at the pinata, Boy Green. Rams in Seattle. You can get me the date if you want. Rams in Seattle. Darnold must show up for that game in full flower to show me that he can do it. If he doesn't show up in that game, I have no faith that Seattle goes anywhere in the playoffs. Period. End of story. It is just a case that a lot of people have been saying about Sam Darnold, that as soon as you put a little pressure on him, as soon as you squeeze that orange just a little bit, Sammy panics. Because that's what that looked like yesterday. It looked like panic Sammy. This cool, calm, collected guy who was zipping it in these small windows for the last 10 weeks suddenly disappeared, and he began Sam Panic Darnold. This is his new middle name. All right, so Sam Darnold's got one more chance with me. I gave him all I got in that pick segment. I took Seattle with force, Boy Green. I got behind Darnold. I said he's going to show up.
They covered.
Yeah, they covered. Big deal. Who cares? I mean,
I thought that was the purpose of you backing him up. Like he backed you up, you covered the
I don't care that I got the win. Sam Darnold did not show up for me.
But that's one game, but you're ready to throw him to the wolves after a 4-pick game.
It's not one game. It's one meaningful game. And this guy in meaningful games keeps messing up. Okay. So now he's got the other meaningful game. If the Rams didn't get his attention last year in the playoffs, then the Rams got his attention yesterday. If he doesn't show up for round 3, okay, it's like Ali Frazier, okay, Muhammad gets him in the first one. Joe Frazier was there in number 2. All right. And he gets Ali. Like he showed up for it. Sam Darnold did not show up for round 2. He's got one more round. All right. Otherwise, it's a knockout, baby. It's over. The Rams got his number and he's finished.
Okay.
They got to get that one in Seattle. They got a great home field advantage there. I am marking that on my calendar. Did you get the date for me? What is the date of that game? I want to put that on my calendar. I'm not missing that game. Is that a primetime game?
How could it not be,
Give me the date on that game. Seattle.
December 18th. It is definitely a primetime game.
Christmas. It's going to be my Christmas gift. Okay. And is it primetime?
Yes, 100%. I can see from the time it is. Okay. It is a Thursday night football game.
Thursday night. Oh, short week. That makes it a little harder. Short week in Seattle. Let's bleeping go, Sam.
Okay. There you go.
Let's bleep and go. Game. Okay. Otherwise, Manchild is off your bandwagon. No more praises. It's going to be nothing but lemons and vinegar at Sam Darnold going forward. That he's not the right guy, that he can't do it. He's never going to do it in the clutch. Yada, yada.
Jeez.
I want to stop that talk. I want to get behind this guy. I've been behind him the last couple of times, and he's disappointing me. It's time for Sam Darnold to pull up the old big boy pants, okay, and show up for the Manchild and his teammates. Let's go.
All right. I don't know if you have this story on your docket, but can I? Speaking of disappointing, can I throw one at you here, Lurch?
Sure.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about disappointing, one guy that's been disappointing on the field has been Giants rookie Abdul Carter. And now here's this that came out this morning.
I don't want to hear this. I do not want to hear this. What now?
According to Dan Dugan of The Athletic, Giants rookie linebacker Abdul Carter was benched for the opening drive of the Green Bay Packers game for missing a walkthrough. Carter was asleep in the team facility at the time of the walkthrough. Now, as you'll see at the bottom of this screenshot, Abdul Carter has responded to Dan Dugan's report saying, "I wasn't asleep. I was actually doing recovery. Nevertheless, that's on me." Lurch, what's your response to Abdul Carter, who is like, do I want Lawrence Taylor's number? Do I want Phil Simms' number? And now we're getting this? He has like half a sack on the season? What in the heck?
Not as bad as I thought. I was expecting worse. I like the answer. Okay. I like the answer. Very direct answer. Laying down the facts. And most importantly, that last line, that's on me, baby.
But how does this happen?
Responsibility.
Okay, so I'm trying to even think of an analogy to use. If I'm in the building and I'm doing recovery, don't they say, "Hey, Abdul, don't you have a meeting right now?" Like, you can't be doing recovery right now. You got a meeting on the other side with all of your teammates. How does that happen? How are you just in a different part of the building getting recovery? How do those wires get crossed? Where you're the only one, like no one else is there because they're all at this meeting. You're by yourself getting recovery, and that doesn't seem strange, bizarre. If we were to believe Abdul Carter's reasoning, oh, I was in recovery. What do you say? I wasn't asleep. I was getting recovery, man. I was working on me. Like, how does that happen? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I don't
Explain it, Lord. How does that make sense? I don't understand. We're all in the same building. If I'm the medical people giving him his recovery treatment, how is that possible? I just can't wrap my brain around that. I don't understand.
Could he be telling a white lie? I suppose.
Maybe. I don't know.
It seems rather odd.
Yeah, strange.
These schedules are very, very typical. They're very, very
I would imagine stringent.
Rigorous.
Like that's on rigorous. Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Very, very well defined.
Right.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good look, but I do like it's on me. Okay. And this young man has a lot to learn. He looked like gangbusters in preseason. He looked like gangbusters in training camp. And he has looked like an very ordinary defensive end in gameplay. Okay. How many sacks? I mean, Boy Green,
I think he has half a sack,
yeah,
I believe.
He has like one sack. I mean, his sack situation is insane.
Yeah, it's half a sack on the season. Half a sack. That's it.
So, yeah.
Well, here, I'll save you from Abdul.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the Bills one? Keon Coleman's a healthy scratch for the third time. Keon Coleman missed a meeting. Like he had an issue where he missed it. How is this happening? And people go, sorry, he's just a little immature, doesn't have his stuff straight. That's another one. I know we're wrapping up the show here, folks. We got a couple hundred people in the room, but how does the Keon Coleman one happen? For the third time, there's a discipline issue, and he's been wildly inconsistent on the field, but he missed a meeting? What are you people doing? Isn't this your life? Isn't this everything you're supposed to be doing? How do you miss a meeting? Oh, boy. Keon Coleman.
Yeah, that one to me is more disastrous than Carter, but this is not a good look for Carter, and it's not a good look for the Giants. And, we're only 11 weeks into a season, but he does not look like the number 3 overall pick.
Yikes. Definitely not. It's a disaster.
That's not good. And I'll tell you what, I mean, again, all of this stuff will, by the end of the season and going forward, into the offseason, could very well have an impact on whether or not Joe Shane is still the GM. Abdul Carter is one of his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were him, I'd be sitting with Abdul Carter today as the GM. And saying, what's up, Abdul? What's going on? Is this what you pictured as Abdul Carter NFL player? How many sacks did you say he had? I missed what you said.
Who, Abdul?
Yeah.
He's half a sack.
Half a sack. Okay. Did you imagine, 11 weeks in, Abdul, you had 11 in the books, half a sack? I mean, is that what you were hoping for? Was that in the preseason goals? So, and then this missed meeting thing now. So what are we doing the rest of the season? I mean, I stuck my neck out on the line for you. I believed in you, and I still want to believe in you. What are we going to do here the last 6-7 weeks of the season? What are we doing? Are we gonna be the Abdul Carter that I thought I was getting in the number 3 spot of the NFL draft that I'm paying a lot of money to, that I want to renew his contract come year 4 before you even get into year 5? Or is this going to be a different story? What's going to be the ending to this book? Like, I'd be sitting down and talking with this young man, because it doesn't matter what the Giants' record is. It doesn't matter any situations that are going on with the Giants. This is Abdul Carter's career. And as the GM who stuck my neck out for him, I'd be sitting down with him and talking to him about his career. It's not good. It's not a good look. And he hasn't been a very good player for the Giants, in all honesty. Periodically, I've brought it up with Ed Valentine. I have. I've been like, Ed.
Yeah.
Like, the weird thing is, watching Giant games, it's like, you're like, where is he? Like, you don't hear his name. Like, he's not making tackles. He's not, having a big effect on quarterback pressures. I mean, sacks are great, and certainly half is not good for defensive end with all the credentials that he had coming out of college. But, like, he's just not in it. He's just getting blocked. There's nothing happening, so he's not disrupting in any way. And I thought he would be a disruptor, and he's not, at least so far. But
and
again,
wow,
young guy.
Abdul Carter is just taking to social media. Okay, that's always a good sign. So let's throw this up on the screen.
What
if
now?
I was Abdul, I would just put down the phone.
Yeah,
but
just put it down.
That's just me. Here's Abdul. When the hate don't work, they start telling lies, and he seems to be. He just posted straight up. He's not responding to anyone. He's just throwing this out into the ethos. Like, I'd put the phone down, man. To be honest, like between me and you, Abdul, who gives a crap why you missed it? You were sleeping.
Right.
You were ordering Grubhub. I don't care. You missed the meeting. That's the most important part. So to bellyache with the reporter on the
now exacerbates it more, keeps it in the public more. It has more people talking about it. And you're saying, just stop people from talking about it. Just attend the rest of the meetings and don't be on the bad list anymore. And you get out, and play better football. By the way.
Play better football. If you do that, then who cares about any of this stuff?
Let's have a 3-sack game, and then everybody be talking about the 3-sack game and not about the meeting that you missed.
Bill Belichick told this story. He came into a room and he worked for the Giants. Lawrence Taylor was in the back of the room sleeping. He turned to Bill Parcells and said, hey, coach, Lawrence Taylor's sleeping back there. And he says, well, basically, like, should I do something about it or something? And he's like, nah, don't wake him up. Let him get his sleep. We need him for Sundays. Like, when you're playing better, you have a much longer leash on the stuff you could get away with. So, Abdul, my advice, put down the phone. Stop worrying about all this crap. Play better football, and no one worries about it. And again, it doesn't matter how or why you missed. You missed a meeting. Like, just be better.
If you watch that game in Spain, I don't know, almost in a football game, and that's supposedly a really nice stadium, by the way. Looked nice on TV.
Apparently, yeah.
These overseas games this year have looked really good.
Very much so. Aesthetically, great. Yeah.
This is like a big time stadium in Spain. It sounded like they had remarkable amenities there at the stadium. We were treated to a 16-13 game, not exactly what we were hoping for. Miami and Washington, okay, get what you asked for.
And overtime too, nice.
And overtime. But I don't know that I've ever seen more red zone ineptness from either team. I mean, oh my God. I mean, it was like each team could move the ball very rapidly down the field, and it'd get to the 20 and inside the 20, and then it would all fall apart. Penalties, bad throws, picks, fumbles, and anything and everything goes. Mariota, a disgusting display in the red zone, and he was good otherwise, but every time they got in the red zone, he was awful. And Tua had some of the same issues. So that was a red zone fiasco. That is, if I were either one of those two teams, that's all I'd be working on in practice this week is red zone drills. That's it. Yeah. Everything's from the 20 in. Let's go. Let's get in confined space and figure out how to get the ball to our playmakers, because both teams forgot how to do it. It was absolutely insane. A lot of field goal attempts in that game. Yada, yada, yada. So that was kind of disgusting. And then last one on my list, Boy Green, let's get to it, because it is tonight. There is a Monday Night Football game. It's not one we're incredibly looking forward to, but there are some people like us out there looking forward to it. And that is Dallas and Vegas tonight. I think it's in Sin City, if I remember right. So,
it is 100% in Vegas.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so preview it. Go ahead. Give us some thoughts. Dallas, Vegas, what are you looking for?
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the Quinnen Williams shirt. Shout out to our number one Austrian Jet fan for making this and sending it to me from Austria. I need a jersey change because he's in the wrong jersey. But Quinnen Williams makes his debut tonight for the Dallas Cowboys. So the Cowboys think they were playing chess. The rest of the world is playing checkers. Well, we're about to find out. And Quinnen was in a unique position, right? We talk about and this is
a quick thing out to the Jets Austrian fan. If you want to send me a T-shirt with Abdul Carter on his phone, or type in a text, I'll take that. That'll be
okay,
mine.
That's a good one too. Maybe you could get.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's just what version of Quinnen Williams are we going to get? Is he reinvigorated? I'm on a new team, and he goes back to that first team All-Pro Dom itself, where a couple years ago he had 12.5 sacks. I mean, that's what the Cowboys are betting on, and the Raiders are not a very good team, so I imagine the Cowboys are going to win tonight, and hopefully add to my wins here on our NFL pick sheet, which would be terrific. So I'm looking forward to the Quinnen Williams debut. So I'll be on the edge of my seat. And there he is. Austrian says hello. He'll start working on that. Very beautiful. Thank you, Austria Jet fan. So I'm wearing that shirt proudly today. So I'm curious to see what does Quinnen look like. Cowboys coming out off a bye too. So Quinnen uniquely has a lot of time, right? He got to I don't know the living situation, but whatever. He goes down to Dallas, has extra time, playbook, blah, 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 blah. He should, and it's a Monday Night Football game, so even more time. So he should be as prepared as anybody for this kind of change. So I'm curious to see how he plays tonight. It will be a little weird seeing him in the blue and white. But he's a terrific player, and I'm rooting the best for him.
Okay. No fantasy worries for you. You got me, Boy Green, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to bring it up, but you brought it up there.
Insane miracle from my team. Trey Tucker did have over 40 points in a game this year. So if I could get some kind of insane performance out of him and Brandon Aubrey, who are my only players going tonight, then maybe.
Although I have two players tonight.
I could do some crazy thing, right? But you've got the
quarterback. I got Dak Prescott and George Pickens. Yeah. So I'm feeling
you're up
good.
at about 20 on me right now, and then you got those
right.
guys
and those two.
I would need like an insane Tucker night, Dak to throw 3 picks, But hey, stranger, crazier things that happen. But I think you got me, and you needed it more than I did. That's for sure.
100%.
You'll remain, I think, in second place with that win.
So I am actually in third place, so hopefully I jump back into second place.
You might jump back into second, I think. Then maybe. I think that might.
We'll see. Because Jabber and Big Al, and there's a few others in the mix, but we'll see. It's going to have
Al's going to win, so maybe you're going to be still be in third, but you'll be
so it takes some points out. But either
you
way,
and Al alone in second, second, tied for second record.
Sure,
maybe points wise, you'll be in third.
I was on a 2-game losing streak, so I absolutely needed it. And again, shout out to the fantasy football players out in the audience. Always be looking to make moves. I pick up the Steelers defense on Friday night, and they score 2 defensive touchdowns. That was huge. I pick up Michael Wilson randomly on Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock when I hear the Marvin Harrison news. I'm like, maybe. And so I'm able to pick him up, and Michael Wilson scores 34 points, and Steelers defense scores 21 points. Those 2 moves won me the week. I don't make those moves, I lose. So absolute massive.
It's 2 big performances, the Pittsburgh defense and Michael Wilson. Okay, this is what I went down to this week, but my team didn't deserve to win. My team's going to end up putting up 110 points if I'm lucky. So might be my worst week or among my worst weeks in the league this year. So, but I had a little cushion. Thank God it was 2 games.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm still 1 game up on everybody. I just got to keep staying the course. But it's amazing the ebb and flow of a fantasy season, how guys get hot and then they get cold, and guys get hurt, and then that changes everything. And then if you don't get the right guy in that spot, it can go bad for you. So this is far from over. Far from over. We've got 14 weeks of regular season. So we've got 3 more fantasy regular season
12, 13, 14
roll into the playoffs. So right now my goal is to finish in the top 2 and get the bye.
There you go.
We just go from there. So I'd love to win the whole thing in terms of winning the regular season, and then of course have the biggest advantage going into the playoffs. But right now my goal is just to be in one of those top 2 and get the bye. So we'll see how it plays. It's going to be interesting, but congrats, Boy Green, at least temporarily. Hopefully you don't wake up tomorrow and we're talking on Wednesday about how I had a miracle. Crazy. Do you believe in miracles kind of thing? Because crazy things can happen.
But let's hope not. But Lurch.
That was more than a golf clap right there. It was.
Yeah, that was terrific. So I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Well, congrats. It happens.
Every blind squirrel finds a nut. I'll take it.
It does. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised. And well, I guess because it's not over yet, but I'm just surprised that you didn't bring it to the airwaves, that you didn't.
Oh. When it's official.
You're typically a big gloater. So, I try not to be, but you always egg me into it. But
no, I mean, you told me off air, right? So like you saw, I pick up Michael Wilson, I put him in the starting lineup. I have buys and everything he's playing in, and you see that he's projected for 15 points. You tell me like, 15 points.
That was funny. I told Paul this off air. Yeah. I looked at Wilson in his lineup. I was like, this is what I'm up against. Come on. I mean, he's like literally got a guy Wednesday, not even off the real waivers, but like after waivers are completed, Wilson's still out there for anybody in the league to go grab. And he goes, well, who else is out there that maybe I could throw in there? My team's not all that good, and I could use another guy in a flex. And he picks up Michael Wilson, who, was projected to get more action this week because of Marvin Harrison's concussion. So that was a late development. This is why you pay attention to fantasy all the time, because you can't go to sleep and just say, I've already got my lineup. You have to, an injury happened of a key guy. Who's getting an uptick now? And are any of those guys that are getting an uptick available? And could I plug him into my lineup and they'd be better than a guy that I'm already scheduling at this point to start? And that's exactly what you saw. That's just good fantasy football play, by the way. And you saw Michael Wilson out there and you're like, who else is going to get the targets? And not only I know they have Trey McBride, and McBride had a phenomenal game again, but this guy is going to be number 2 behind McBride based on the rest of those guys. I mean, they got a bunch of no names. At least he's an experienced pro and he has had his moments in the NFL. So you went out and smartly got him. But for him to go out and score 33 points and just be a beast, I mean, he have 167 yards. So I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it was like epic. But that's how crazy things like that happen. I told you, Trey Tucker, who was just a guy on the Raiders receiving core. You'll see him tonight in the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, sure.
We had a over 40-point week. There's probably only been like 3 or 4 guys outside of the quarterbacks the whole year, if even that many, that have had 40-point weeks in fantasy this year. That guy's one of them. Like crazy stuff can happen. Pay attention to the waiver wire. Pay attention after waivers. There might be somebody out there that you could throw into your lineup. Boy Green did.
So long story short, I learned a lesson from you. You told me that before the show, and then if you would have said that, like, oh, Boy Green, what a loser! Like this is what you're trying to come at the king, and then if he would have done exactly what he did, you would have been embarrassed, had this egg on your face. So you just told me that. It's not official. Does it look really good? 20-point lead. I have the quarterback and the wide receiver versus the kicker and some backup receiver. I feel pretty good, but it's not official. So I'm not going to start going, da, 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 da. I'm not going to pull, who the hell, who just did this? I'm not going to pull an Adonai Mitchell, ball out the back of the end zone. I'm not pulling a Jonathan Taylor, throw the ball behind me. I'm not pulling a Malachi Corley, okay? Gotcha. When I score,
when you cross the goal line,
and they give me one of these, I'm like,
okay, now
there'll be dance moves. They'll be coming. Yeah,
but looks good. Looks good for you. So
sure.
That's kudos. And Michael Wilson was a genius pickup.
Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely genius. Unbelievable. And I told Paul that privately. I said I was thinking it, but I did not say it out loud because I know the danger of doing that. But I saw that they had projected him for like 15 points, and I was like, Michael Wilson is not getting 15 points this week. That guy is a nobody. It's Jacoby Brissett is throwing to him. I mean, the Niners are going to take him apart, and they kind of did, 41-22. But, when you're playing from behind, man, they just started chucking it. Brissett became this crazy chucker yesterday that he never is. He's like usually conservative guy, just handing the ball off and throwing short screen passes. And the guy was chucking it all over. And who was catching him? Michael bleeping Wilson for 33 points in a PPR league. Crazy. When do you expect to get a performance like that? When you least expect it. So very well timed for Boy Green this week, who has got my number, it looks like, this week in fantasy. But as he said, not official yet. Okay, but it's going to be. It's going to be. I mean, I give myself about a 1% chance. But 1% is better than nothing. It's kind of like that Dumb and Dumber. It's like you're saying I got a chance. You're saying there's a chance. So, yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, this has been a long one, but it's been a good one. A lot to recap in the NFL. A lot of breaking news. Recap the breaking news real quick before we get out of here, Boy Green. So Michael Penix.
Yeah, that is now official. He was placed on IR, and he's going to be out for the season. So Michael Penix,
for the year.
Michael Penix is out. I have to double check. I just got a text about Josh Jacobs, so I got to see what that injury is. So I'll give you guys that breaking news in a second if I could get to it. So Michael Penix is going to be out for the year. So Kirk Cousins in for the Falcons. Justin Fields has been benched for Tyrod Taylor. Now, the next level of news we're waiting for is how far is Justin Fields benched? Is he to QB3? All that stuff. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning on Boy Green Daily for that coming in. Let's see. Abdul Carter, apparently the reason that he was benched for a drive was because, sleeping or not sleeping and being as part of his evals. People are now that hearing that's the reason, people are getting angry that he wasn't benched longer. You only missed a drive. It's like slapping on the wrist because Abdul Carter's an important player. So like you don't want to punish him too much, but you also want to show some level of accountability. So there's some criticisms going out there. Obviously the Keon Coleman stuff is coming out as well. So yeah, a bunch of breaking news all over the NFL. Lurch, you have Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs?
Oh, I thought you were looking it up.
Oh, yeah. No, I have Josh Jacobs, yes.
On the fantasy team. No, I thought you had the update of what the...
Oh, I don't know. No, I mean, he left the game. It looked like his knee was bugging him a little this week, to be honest with you, going in, and then he left the game. And I don't think there's any new news on it yet.
Yes, here it is. There is new news on it.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so the knee is structurally sound, no surgery needed, considered day-to-day. So no, I heard it. I saw it on Twitter like, da-da-da, and I went, let me get back to that later because we were talking about stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah, so good news for you as a fantasy football one over Josh Jacobs. There you go.
Yeah, losing him would be a big blow going down the stretch here. I mean, I've assured my spot, in the playoffs. Like I said, fighting for a bye right now, maybe even could win the regular season, but if I lose Jacobs, my chances of winning the league go really, really, really small. I'd have to get lucky somewhere else. So, Yeah, that was tough watching that, knowing I was facing you this week, already seeing some guys, doing it right. You had that Stephon Diggs head start. I was like, oh boy, this is like,
Nice.
and
Good
then he went
start
out
to
pretty
the
early in the game. He only had 4 points when he went out. I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, I got a little bit more out of him before he disappeared.
Yeah.
But I thought with Bijan putting up a 30 spot, okay, kind of back to normal here. If I get good play out of the rest of my players, I didn't know Sam Darnold was going to spend the whole day throwing to the wrong team. He could have just been throwing the ball to Jackson Smith and Jigba instead. He could have made up for it and got me a 40 or 50-point week, and all of a sudden, bingo. But that didn't happen. So looks like it's yours for the taking, and that's the way fantasy goes. Sometimes you gotta go that way. All right, quickly comments, Boy Green. I didn't want to say goodbye without that, so let's just alternate comments. Just start at the top. All right. So Jamie touting his Bears, very excited about them. They got a win. Go ahead. You jump into the next one. We'll just alternate on comments.
Yeah, sure. Bill Ameley saying the Chiefs need a lot of help. They could have used a lot of different things. Running back, wide receiver, extra tight end. Again, they did make that Breece Hall trade. They are regretting that.
Jamie saying, I let him down and I'm going on a slide. So he thinks I'm going to start from this. He's talking about fantasy.
Yes,
I'm going down there. And then he followed that up with this one on Drake London. Drake London's knee, the most important thing in his life right now. He hopes he isn't hurt too bad. Is there any update on Drake London?
I have not seen an update so far on Drake London.
He got nicked up too. All right.
He did. He did. We talked about this earlier, but again, prayers continue to be out for Chris Boyd. Now, it was initially reported that he was fighting for his life. Now he's critical but stable, which is a positive update that came out this morning. So Tatsuyama asking that earlier on our YouTube channel. Appreciate that, Tatsuyama.
William, this is a good one. I agree with you. Find it interesting how inconsistent most of the top teams have been these last 4 or 5 weeks. I totally agree. There's not one dominant team in all of football. None. There were zero. There were 0 teams. That's why I asked Boy Green that question earlier. Give you one team, Boy Green. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? And he was like, let me see. I don't know. I would be the same thing. I don't know. I thought the Lions put out a performance last night. I probably would have been willing to say the Lions. Now they lose to that Philly team that, to me, just doesn't look right. That's not a good sign. I mean, I know the weather was a bit of a factor in that game, and, Philly has a good defense. But come on, you put up a 9-burger. I mean, you just got to do better than that. I had some hope in Seattle, and that was awful. Sam Darnold showing his true colors again.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to go anymore. I'm lost. I need a few more weeks to figure out who's good.
Well, the good news is that means the Super Bowl window is wide open, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the playoffs trying to find out whoever the hell that team is. I see the Savage asked about the Jets trading back in round 1. Totally possible. They got 2 picks, whatever the Colts end up being, and their own pick. So the Savage, we'll see what happens. I'm not opposed to the Jets trading back for the right situation.
Okay. Tatsuyama jumping in here with last year. Giants had number 1 draft pick, and they won that game late. Yeah, the Giants can never lose. You are absolutely correct. I've talked about this for years, going back to the radio days. The Giants never get losing right. They don't know how to lose. Yeah, when they need to.
William Ameley, Jets could go 9-8, but not with Fields. He gave this comment before the quarterback change news happened, so he's hoping that Tyrod Taylor can inspire the Jets to win out the season.
Luck,
perhaps, William. Perhaps.
Good luck. Good grief. All right, and then a follow up on that from another from the Savage Rusty Jet Spooner. He says, "Need New Orleans to beat us and Tennessee to beat New Orleans, and then the Jets lose correctly." So there's a whole cycle here of how this could go to get the Jets to number 1, right? You're looking for number 1 there, I guess.
Although their chances probably would have been better by keeping Justin Fields in the game, in the lineup, perhaps. But
let him play. He'll give it away.
So that's good. Let's see. I'm seeing all the beard stuff, all the beard jokes from the bet coming up again. Jets Ravens. We'll see what happens there.
Some faith out there for AG. Williams saying AG has taken the heat to shield his players. He's the right guy to lead us out of the dumps. Will he be the right guy?
I agree with that overall sentiment. I think Rex Ryan used to do that, where he thought if he did his bluster at the podium, when things went wrong, the spears and everything went in his direction instead of his players. So I agree with that overall status. Al, I just gave the update for Josh Jacobs, so big Al there. No structural damage, but there is a chance he could be out this week. So sort of keep an eye out for that. He's day to day.
Misses a week, I'd be okay with that. But, man, let's be back in full bore here for the later part of the season and the playoffs in fantasy, baby. For those of us that have him in fantasy, he's been a good, solid guy, and he dominates that backfield. He gets all the goal line touches. As you saw, Emmanuel Wilson gets 2 cheap TDs. You're like, oh, man, that would have all been on my pallet, Boy Green. We might be talking about Monday Night Football really being at play here and whether my kicker can do it for me again, right? And instead, we're not talking about anything because of Josh Jacobs. If Jacobs gets those 2 touchdowns as a normal second half, gets those scores, which he would typically get on the goal line, Now Josh Jacobs is a 25-point scorer, and that puts me in the ballpark with you going into Monday Night Football, and we got a real showdown. As it turns out, not the case.
Glad he didn't. Here's another comment. PR Jet says, Jim mocking the Jets like the Giants have a clue. He did not like how you were talking about the Jets earlier.
But, I mock everybody, including my Giants. So I don't spare my Giants from the wrath. But yeah,
I appreciate this, Troy.
Not do bad things. Go ahead.
Not even a full sack for Abdul Carter. Laughing emoji. Yeah, it's been rough for Abdul.
That's hilarious. It is hilarious, and it's pathetic. Number 3 pick overall. You expected to be a game wrecker. I was, dare I say, making comparisons. Could he be the next? Why am I forgetting Micah Parsons? Could he be the next?
Oh yeah,
and,
that take's looking tough right now.
You better squint really, really hard to see that. They both come from Penn State. There's a lot of.
Of course, I can understand why you would make that draw, but and that covers a lot of it.
Anything else? Yeah, that covers most of it.
No,
I think we got most of it. So thanks everybody for your comments. We always appreciate your comments. Always appreciate you getting in there and chatting with us during the show. And it was a long one today, but well worth it considering all the things that we had to talk about. All right, Boy Green, final thoughts if you have any.
Yeah, just to plug the rest of the week, we're going to be talking Giants with Ed Valentine. We're going to be talking Jets with Jake Asman. We will be talking Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame Syracuse this week. I already have a Notre Dame guy in lockstep. I'll finalize that with Lurch after we get off the air here. I'm going to South Bend for the first time ever, so any recommendations or anything of that nature are welcomed in. So we'll have Notre Dame this week. Let's see who else we have. Joe Bartle, our fantasy football guy. We have Wednesday night live with Brett LaBelle, which is back. We have Anthony Prohaska talking Bills. We have our NFL picks against the spread. And, of course, Lurch, it's racking up those subscribers.
Yep, one last chance. It's still sitting here in my bedroom. Could be yours for Christmas. Could be yours for the holidays. Give it as a gift. Keep it for yourself. It is a brand new Cleveland High Bore XL driver, still in the wrapping plastic. It was donated by our friends at Play It Again Sports, one of our many very, very dedicated supporters, sponsors. And this baby's going out the door. I will ship it to you at my expense. Okay. Just have to be one of our first 500 subscribers, and we continue to creep our way closer and closer to 500. But right now, you can just go click subscribe right now and be getting that pool of 500. I'm thinking as we get closer and closer to 500, Boy Green, I might offer some incentives for people to get multiple raffle tickets, dare I say. So instead of just being 1 in 500, you could be like 5 of 500 or 10 of 500 or 20 of 500. Suddenly your odds increase over and over again. So we'll discuss a little off air, but I got a couple ideas for how we can maybe incentivize, because I'd love for somebody who is a really dedicated viewer and somebody who really participates at a high level to be the person that ends up getting this golf club. So subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Tell some friends and get ready. There might be some incentives coming your way to maybe get a few extra raffle tickets in our beautiful little raffle here.
Excellent.
All right. Well, that'll do it here on a Monday, our Monday morning quarterback in the books. But all those fun things, insiders for Jets, Giants, and Bills coming up later this week. Fantasy football, of course. Survivor on Wednesday night. Brett LaBelle is now back in the fold, and he'll be with us again on Wednesday. Until then, folks, we will see you again. Take care.